Exceptional service. Enjoy great pay and benefits, a supportive team, and a non-commissioned plumbing career. Apply now at Benz.Plumbing. That's Benz.Plumbing.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
J.P. Crawford, a bases-clearing three-run double.
A Mariners game at T-Mobile Park is the perfect place for date night. It's kind of like Seattle's best show, restaurant, and dance club all in one. It's actually even better because you don't have to wear uncomfortable shoes, and you don't have to act all fancy. You can yell and scream all you want. And if you play your cards right, there'll be fireworks. No, like actual fireworks, not metaphorical ones. Although with an atmosphere like this, I think your odds are pretty good.
Home run, Julio!
Mariners baseball, Trident's up.
Don't miss this week's action at T-Mobile Park. The Mariners have 3 straight value games against the Tigers tonight through Thursday, with tickets starting at just $10. Then the Mets come to town for a 3-game set, including a fireworks show this Friday, presented by T-Mobile, and a Trident's Up t-shirt giveaway this Saturday thanks to Sato. Get your tickets today at Mariners.com.
Your favorite Seattle sports show is available anywhere you go through the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center Proton Therapy. Full shows and interviews, exclusive video and articles from the home of the Seahawks and Mariners.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners are back in action after an off day yesterday. They'll open another home series, this time against the Detroit Tigers. Get ready for a pitching showdown between these two teams. Luis Castillo, George Kirby, and Brian Wu slated to start for Seattle. Meanwhile, Seattle will get a look at Tarek Skubal, a top Cy Young candidate in the American League this year. He's scheduled to start tomorrow against Kirby.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bump and Stacy.
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. It is Tuesday. Michael Bumpus, Stacy Ross with you. We're at 2 separate locations here, which is important because, Bump, you're going to be able to be in person for a great Seahawks interview. We're going to see if we can snag some reporters. Still going to have a presence out there at Seahawks camp. How was yesterday, by the way? You and Brian B-Wall.
Yeah, it was good. You know, B-Wall, my homie from the pre-halftime and post-game show where the Seahawks filled in, man. He was excited. He was Blitz made sure to come by and remind him that my other co-host is a lot cuter, so he was a little disappointed by that.
Oh, no, don't say that about Brian. I'm sure plenty of people had compliments for Brian. No, I was able to tune into a bit of the show. It was great. It's always awesome hearing like 2 former players or 2 guys that just kind of get it talk about it, because not only do I think that brings a personal dynamic to camp, but you guys had an excellent interview with A.J. Barnes. How was he? Or Burner, excuse me.
He was good, man. He exudes this confidence, this quiet but loud at the same time confidence, and we learned a lot about him. He's a big boy. He said he was undersized. He wrestled at like 120 pounds his freshman year, which is crazy to me. But it was good. I think he's excited about that tight end room, as we all should be, man. Lots of good tight ends there. A good interview. If you guys want to check it out, go to Seattle Sports YouTube, man. It's up there. It was a good one.
Can I just, before we continue, tell me about my trip to Boise just for like 30
please tell
seconds?
me.
Okay. So me and Derek went to Boise, and his family lives there. So we were seeing his family, seeing his friends. And let me tell you guys something about Boise. People love to be outdoors, which was great. Floating the river, fantastic. People also love to do dangerous, death-defying things like riding ATVs. And we went on an ATV ride. There was like 7 or 8 people, and they drive up like the mountains, which are really like rolling hills in Boise. And I thought minimum 7 times that I would die. Like, I kept telling Derek, like, slow down, we're going to die. And I thought that I was going to throw up. Like, I made him stop because I thought I was going to get sick. I just think, like, you get to a point in your life, Bump, and I don't know that you've ever done this because you are very different than me, where you realize, like, I like what I like, and what I like is not adrenaline. I don't want I don't want to ride a roller coaster. I don't want to be scared. I don't want to watch too scary a movie. I don't want anyone knocking at the door at night, and I definitely don't want to ride ATVs. Like, that's just who I am as a person.
So you didn't enjoy the ATVs? You didn't have any type of fun?
I hated the ATVs. I thought that I would die. The only thing I liked was we saw a beautiful sunset. Like, Boise really is so pretty, but that's the only thing I liked. And I'll say it to anyone's face. If you're from Boise and you're like, ATV life, I'm telling you right now, you are so close to death. And you don't even know it. It's not for me. All the guys liked it. It's not for me. All I wanted to do was be like, can we do a happy hour instead?
You sound like my mom. My mom went to Nevada, I think, a couple weeks ago, and she got on the ATVs, and it sounds like I'm talking to my mom right now, Stacy.
That's exactly
Come on
what
now.
it's like. You guys don't realize how close you are to death when you're doing those things. Like, it's just... Oh, God, I don't understand. Derek literally said, like, because I said, you're like an adrenaline junkie. He was like, well, what do you do for, like, a jolt of adrenaline? I was like, nothing. Coffee.
Books, reality TV show.
Seriously, literally nothing, and I'm okay with that. Okay, we're moving on. What has been, I'm sure, giving you a jolt of adrenaline is always being around football, and we have learned a lot from Seahawks training camp over these first 2 weeks here now as we enter the third. So I figured we'd go through the 5 things we learned from camp so far, and you've got observations about all of these as well. The number one thing is the most important position in football, that being quarterback. Geno Smith might actually be in the best shape of his life. What do you see from him?
Yeah, he missed a few days with 3 or 4 practices because of soreness or whatnot, and he should miss some practices, especially now if he feels that way. But it's unfortunate because what we're doing is we're comparing Geno to Sam Howell, right? And I don't even think it's fair for Sam Howell to be compared to Geno at this point because Geno's been in the game for so long and he understands how to get through a camp, how to be a leader. But naturally, that's what we have to do. You pick up Sam Howell for a 3rd-round pick. You want to see if he can compete for a job. And there's really no competition. It's really a mentorship that's going on, I feel like, with Geno when it comes to Sam Howell. Geno just looks way more in control of the offense. His misses aren't as big as Sam Howell's misses. The offense moves a bit more smoothly when he's in there. He's able to fit the football in tight spaces and anticipate throws. And really, I look at the base of the quarterback. I always start with his feet. I was playing catch with my son the other day, and I told him, I said, man, if your base isn't right, if your feet aren't right, the chances of you completing passes just go down tremendously. I don't see that with Geno. Sam Howell's a professional quarterback as well. He has a good base, but it just looks different. Geno just looks like a pro, and Sam Howell looks like a guy with a bunch of potential, but is maybe 2 or 3 steps behind Geno. But that's the way it should be when you're looking at your number 1 compared to your number 2. I like the combo overall, but, I mean, we've said it for a couple of weeks now. There's no denying Geno's a guy.
It's been really, really cool to hear this about him, too, because you and I spent so much of the offseason, I don't want to say defending Geno, but we started to feel, and we'd talked about this Bump, like, not like we were on an island, but we were like, wait, why is every conversation we want to have about Geno suddenly fending off so much Geno hate? Like, we should be able to just talk about this guy, and all of us recognize he's not like a top 5 passer while also recognizing that, like, he's a perfectly serviceable starter right now and has some really good plays in him. And instead, that's been, like, controversial almost. And so it's nice that he looks great because you especially have had so much faith that, like, I think Ryan Grubb can tap into something here.
Yeah, I think that's partly because people want more. Everyone wants a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. And reality is everyone's not going to have that. It is natural for people to want more. So they look at Geno and say, okay, he's good, but maybe someone else like Sam Howell can tap into something Geno can't and take us to the promised land, to a Super Bowl. And that's just not the case. I think that Geno's the type of quarterback that needs to be surrounded by talent, and he has talent, and we have to wait and see what he does with that talent. I don't blame people for their approach when it comes to Geno, but I do encourage them to be patient and watch what he does, because I believe he's good enough to get this team to the playoffs, and who knows, make a run at this thing. So it's just the natural human instincts to want more. And I think that's why we've been sitting here defending our guy number 7 for so long.
All right, number 2. Now, this is something, Bump, that we always knew would be true, but it's still worth pointing out, which is we still have questions about the offensive line.
Yeah, the O-line, it's I wouldn't say it's shaky, but what we're going to talk about, Conor Williams, right? He's potentially signing a deal here with the Seattle Seahawks for a reason. Abe Lucas is jacked up, knees all banged up. Cross is going to be a solidified starter, but you're looking at the interior lineman, you're looking at the guards and the center, and you're saying, who's going to win that job? Nick Harris, Oluwatimi. Where's Conor Williams going to play if he joins his team? He's played center and guard. Anthony Bradford. So there's questions on that offensive line. But honestly, man, it's something. It's not like we're not used to this, Stacy. Like, there's always questions with this offensive line. But we would like for it to be locked in and ready to go. But you hear Mike McDonald talk about it, and he says he wants somebody to take that job. No one's really done it yet when you talk about the interior lineman.
Yeah, you mentioned Conor Williams, which we'll talk about. Mike McDonald says the battle at center is still wide open. Abe Lucas remains out, as you mentioned. It's just something that by nature of training camp, we're not quite going to know. And quite honestly, we aren't really going to know in the preseason either, because they're going to be also playing a few backups that would normally be starters on defensive lines. So I think this is going to be something that takes shape as the season unfolds and hopefully looks as good as it possibly can, at least healthier than last year. What do you have as another takeaway from camp so far, Bump?
The defense, especially the pass game. I think you and I and a lot of people assume that the secondary will be a strength of this team with Devin Witherspoon, with Reek Woolen out there, Trey Brown, Arty Burns, Jenkins. I mean, these guys are all over these receivers. I've seen a deep pass to DK be broken up a couple times. I've seen the short stuff get rallied to. And when I say rally, that means the receiver catches the football and their hats everywhere, where it's a safety or a corner. It just seems like there's not a lot of space often out there when it comes to the pass game, and that's a great thing. I know we want to focus on the run game. We need this run defense to be better, but we're not really going to see what they can do until you get to preseason and the regular season, because they're not going to take these running backs to the ground. So naturally, I'm looking at the back end, and I like the intensity and the anticipation that the secondary is playing with.
I'm so interested to see, too, like when I think of what Mike McDonald excels with, for no reason, because Baltimore had a great secondary. For some reason, I just think of the guys up front, and I think of a front seven. Like when I think of Michigan, I think of a front seven. When I think of Baltimore in his first 2 seasons, I think of a front seven. That's despite the fact that Kyle Hamilton, a safety, was one of the best players that he had. But I'm so curious to see, like, what does Mike McDonald look like with the secondary as well? Like, what kind of magic touch might he have there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's a defensive guy. Everybody has their specialty, right? We know that Dirty is good with that offensive line. We know that McDonald is great with the linebackers. They have their secondary coaches. Everyone leans on something, but when it's all said and done, you don't get to be a coordinator or a head coach if you don't understand everything and what's going on. So when you look at Baltimore, that's where most of their talent was in that box. Even though, Hamilton rolled down into the box at the safety spot. You got Queen, Smith over there as well, then Jadavian and Matabuke on the defensive line. Naturally, there has to be a place that shines on your defense. For Baltimore, it was that. And I think McDonald's going to lean on making sure the box is right. But honestly, Stacy, to start the season, I'm looking at the secondary, and I go, those guys might shine first. As long as the guys in the box are where they're supposed to be and filling these gaps and getting to the football, they should be okay because now they're forced to throw the football, and I think that's where the bulk of the turnovers are going to come from.
Hey, as long as someone's shining, I'm very okay with it. I'm very okay with, I think these guys are going to look stellar before the other guys do. Fine with that approach.
Yeah.
Number 4, focusing on Mike McDonald for our 4th takeaway of the 5 things we learned from Seahawks training camp so far. That's that Mike McDonald understands there needs to be some adjustments to practice. And this is also an interesting takeaway because while we have all our takeaways about players and everything that we're learning, this is also a brand new head coach here. Here's what he had to say.
One of the things I've learned about myself is I can't plan 45 days of training camp to the T and say, hey, look, we're adhering to this schedule and do that like 3 months out. It was like, hey, okay, this is how we want to operate. This is big picture. Let's leave for the summer having a good feel for how we're going to approach this thing. And then, we use the term like staying frosty around here, like, hey, the team needs this now, so we need to be able to pivot. And just having the flexibility throughout the whole, building of, hey, this is where the team needs to go for this week. And I think, that's how it's kind of coming together.
Staying frosty. I like it. What have been your takeaways about Mike McDonald and his first camp as head coach?
That clip right there lets you know that it's different, Stacy, because back in the day when I played, seems like 30 years ago.
Not that long ago, first of all.
It feels like it, though, man. Coaches had their schedules, and their approach was more, if you can't do it, or if you guys aren't learning it, then I'll get someone else who's going to be able to do it. Like, this is what we're doing. And I think nowadays coaches are more open to really getting feedback from their players, from their coaches, observing what's going on with them mentally. Are they picking things up? Are they not? Where are the strengths and the weaknesses? And adjusting their game plan and their practice plan according to their players. So to me, that's a more mature way of going about this whole thing. And it's impressive that Mike McDonald sees that and does that. It also helps that you got the OG Leslie Frazier over there. I guarantee you Leslie is in his ear, giving him suggestions on how to do some things. And it looks like it's coming together. Everything has a purpose from what I've seen so far. Every drill, everything he says has intention and it has a purpose. And all coaches in the NFL should have intention and purpose. It's just nice to hear a 37-year-old come out here and lead the charge and sound like that.
Last but certainly not least, the 5th thing we've learned from Seahawks training camp so far is one individual player having a great camp. And yeah, there are lots of stars that we can talk about, but let's shed some light on and give some love to someone who's not getting the spotlight as much. Arty Burns, here's what Mike McDonald said.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's production on the football, which that's what you want with your DBs. And again, we're in the phase of where he's going to fit in the puzzle, and there's more moving parts that goes with it, with him playing inside and out. But Arty's having a good camp.
Bump, Arty Burns having a great camp.
Man, that's awesome. He was brought here, last year, I believe? Yeah, last year. And he was a veteran, and you didn't know what you're going to get out of him. He had a couple stops, had some good moments, had some down moments, but he just adds to the confusion and the competition in the backfield, and confusion in the sense that who are these guys going to play? How much time is he going to play? He's making these coaches have to make difficult decisions because you drafted 2 kids out of Auburn. You still got Kobe Bryant and Reek and Trey Brown who are trying to solidify themselves. This is great. And you need guys like Arty Burns on your team because he's been there and done that. And I think he has a different appreciation for this game, and he can be a mentor at the same time. So whenever you have an unexpected old head out there balling, that is a good thing. It can do nothing but help your squad.
I love when the old heads also start to be guys that are just late 20s too. Where we're like, he's 28, an old head out there. We call him Unc. We're really rooting for him. Born in 95. No, it's always really cool to talk about guys, you're right, that are kind of being a surprise player. And in general, it's good when you have positive stuff to come from camp that's genuine. And we already mentioned this as our 3rd takeaway, but because it's related to Arty Burns and that cornerback battle, Bump, it feels like one of your greatest takeaways is just that the secondary, that the corners, that a safety group that saw a lot of change in the offseason actually looks pretty solid.
Yeah, it's you always want to have a position that you're not worried about, really. You're always developing. You're always trying to make sure guys are better. They're understanding stuff and picking things up. But it's nice to have a position to where you're saying, all right, whoever we decide is going to start out there, they're going to be just fine. I mean, you're looking at other positions and trying to figure out what that offensive line is going to look like. How good are these linebackers going to be? What's the rotation on the defensive line? When you look at the secondary, you're just worried about who are we going to put out there? Because there's so many guys out there, so it's a good place to be.
All right. Our training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bobo and Stacy.
Geno Smith has returned to Seahawks training camp after missing 2 days with knee and hip soreness. What's the real headline?
The real question is whether Geno can return to 2022's version of himself.
Yeah, that's a good question there. If he can do that, this team is going to finish second in the division, and they will make the playoffs. If he is the version of himself we saw last year, there's still going to be an opportunity to make the playoffs, but you don't feel as confident. No, I like Geno. I like that he embraces the challenge. He looks great. He looks in control. It's all about seeing it when things get real, and I'm excited to see how Grubb allows him or shows him how to take the next step in his development.
Obviously, the best news is also that he's even returned to practice in the first place. I got to tell you, Bump, I saw that Adam Schefter tweet when I was out, and I was very, very nervous of like, oh, God. What do you mean having additional imaging? What do you mean trying to see if it's serious? My heart was racing, suddenly realizing that there is a huge drop-off between Geno and Sam. You talked about it in our open segment. I think some people were really excited at the prospect of a young quarterback coming in here via trade and giving Seattle another potential option for their future. That doesn't mean that option is ready. And you've talked about it, but like facing the reality of what if they have to roll with Sam Howell felt very different than just the potential of young talent. Like it's fun when Sam's on the bench or a young guy's on the bench and you're thinking, what if he turns out being great? Thinking you might have to roll with that guy is a different story.
You know what he got to do, Stace? Sam Howell. He's got to marinate.
He's got to marinate. It's important to marinate. I've learned that far too. You have no idea how many way too tough steaks I've cooked in my life. Dry chicken I've cooked in my life. I've learned that way too late.
Headline rewrites.
Conor Williams is in negotiation with the Seahawks and could sign in the next 2 days. What's the real headline?
He could be central to their plans.
Okay.
Huh? Because he's center, but then it's central to their plan. So it's a play on, do you see, on the word center?
I see it.
And jokes are best when you explain them.
Thankfully, I have the show sheet in front of me so I can see exactly.
Okay, I'm just, explaining it for just, some of the fans, listening.
Oh, good. Yeah, it could be. That. The crazy part about Conor Williams is they're bringing him in. And if they're bringing him in to play center, what does that mean about Olu and Nick Harris? Are they capable and willing to play maybe a guard position and try their luck there? I'm not worried, but I'm a bit concerned about the offensive line, just its health and its progression, because you're bringing in a guy who's coming off an ACL injury, and you're not bringing him in to hang out. You're bringing him in to compete.
Yeah, it feels like something we always talk about, and Seattle isn't the only team around the league that's talking about their offensive line. It's central to anything that anyone wants to do to find success on that side of the ball. It's just, there really is this kind of part of you that looks at Seattle's offensive line and thinks like, God, why can we never see what the Eagles have had, which is consistency there for so long, or the Browns for the longest time just had an offensive line that was constantly like top 3. Like, I really do think because some of these guys play for so long, sometimes you tap into one or two, and those are just your answers for a while. And Seattle, I'm sure, hopes they've done that with Charles Cross and a few other guys, but we'll see what happens.
Headline rewrites.
Last night, the Chicago White Sox lost to the Oakland Athletics, tying the AL losing streak record with 21 straight losses. What's the real headline?
At this point, just go for the all-time record, right? You got to throw game 22.
You can do something that's never been done before.
Yep.
You can reach, I wouldn't say heights, well, you can reach some depths of all depths. I just feel bad. I just saw this clip on X, and it was a 24-year-old pitcher who was traded to the White Sox from the Dodgers at the trade deadline. And he's sitting in the corner looking all depressed. Man, I feel so bad for that young man. He goes, I was just pitching for contenders, and now I'm in Chicago pitching for a team that has absolutely no chance. Felt for that young man.
Oh, God, that reminds me, now that's a much broader scale, but like, it would be like in high school or junior high or elementary school, like you get randomly sorted onto teams and you realize like 3 of your friends are on the same team laughing, having a great time, and you're on an island by yourself with like 3 total losers. Just kidding. I was probably one of the losers. But it's just now he's just watching all of his friends who are most definitely appearing in the postseason, and you're just thinking, what did I do to end up here?
Poor kid.
I know.
It's
feel for that guy.
You know what it reminded me of? And no disrespect to the BC Lions, okay?
Oh no.
When I left Seattle and I left this beautiful facility, we were the first team in here. It was great. And I went to BC and I saw what we were working with. I felt like that young man. I go, what is going on here? This is football. This is football in Canada now. BC's come a long way. They've won a Grey Cup and upgraded their facilities. But there was a little bit of that when I went to Canada, man. It was not all good.
What was the most jarring single moment? Now, it could be like maybe like a first impression, but where you thought like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore kind of feeling about the NFL transitioning to CFL.
They made us buy our own cleats.
Yup, that's it.
They made us buy our own cleats. I'm like, man, I used to get a couple pair of cleats every 2-3 weeks. Like, what's going on? It was crazy, man. It was crazy.
Man, I wonder what still stands true today. Obviously, the CFL has come a long way, but I bet there's a version of that where like maybe when you fly, you're staying in like a completely different type of hotel, or there's got to be some differences. I need to find someone in the CFL.
We flew commercial with the CFL too, so maybe that's changed.
What if it hasn't? What if there are still CFL players? You're sitting next to like a mom with a baby. They're heading to another part of Canada for like a Christmas vacation type of thing. You never know. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Bump live from Virginia Mason Athletic Center. Going to have some takeaways from practice for tomorrow's show. Going to get out there and check things out. Our training camp coverage presented by The Landing in Renton. Speaking of training camp, the biggest position battles going on at camps across the NFL coming up next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike 3.
With Jeff Passen, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
This is a paid political announcement. A Bob for Bob update. Under 12 years of Bob Ferguson as Attorney General and Chief Prosecutor, we in Washington have seen a lot of increases. This, of course, includes a 26% increase in violent crime, 58% increase in homicides, and Washington ranking 4th in the country in stolen vehicles in 2023, behind California, Texas, and Florida. Oh, and according to the FBI, Washington was the 8th most dangerous state between 2020 and 2022. Don't ask for help if you drive a Hyundai or a Kia that's been stolen. What has AG Bob Ferguson done? Bob's been busy planning his governor's campaign and keeping Washington last in the country in law enforcement officers per citizen. As the leader of the Bob for Bob committee, I encourage you to vote Bob if you want more of these crippling policies for Washington, so Bob gets what he's always wanted, governor. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors, Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here. Just want to brag, if you don't mind, about my guys for a sec at Riverside Roofing, because they just closed a multi-million-dollar roofing project on the east side, and I'm just incredibly proud. But to be honest, not at all surprised. It speaks to the trust and the reputation that Riverside Roofing's established throughout this market with exceptional work, honesty, and just positive word of mouth. Riverside Roofing can handle any roof, any job. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes when they worked on my project at my house. Riverside Roofing are also certified Tesla roof installers. So go to riversideroofingllc.com and get a free quick quote on your roofing project within just 60 seconds. Don't wait, because right now is the busy season for roofers, and you're going to want to get your project scheduled while there's still time. Consider Riverside Roofing for your roofing project this summer. They're family owned. They serve all of Western Washington. Ask for a veteran's discount as well, and even a referral bonus. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit,
big one is underway now for all you contractors, builders, and heavy equipment operators. A 3-day huge auction event presented by Murphy Auction Company and featuring literally tons of heavy equipment, heavy trucks, cars, vans, SUVs, and a massive assortment of contractor tools like a 2019 John Deere 650K LGP dozer, a 2018 John Deere 210G LC excavator, a 2015 Lee Boy paver, 21 diesel-powered excavators from John Deere, Bobcat, Hitachi, and Cat. And that's just for openers. We got 13 backhoes up for grabs, 5 telescopic forklifts, 4 rollers, 12 telescopic boom lifts, and 6 skid steer loaders. Oh, one more thing. Over 100 heavy trucks to choose from. You can set your eyes on all this gear at our public preview, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., now through Wednesday the 7th, at our Marysville location, corner of 136th and State Street. For photos and all details, check murphyauction.com.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. With rising interest rates and banks and credit unions continuing to tighten, the demand for our private portfolio loans has never been stronger. Therefore, for a limited time only, Legacy's Opportunity Fund is paying 7% interest on short-term cash with just a 90-day commitment and a 30-day notice to withdraw. It's the perfect place to park your short-term cash. And at 7%, I would challenge you to find a better short-term opportunity in the marketplace today. Don't let your short-term cash sit in a savings or money market account when you can get 7% with Legacy's Opportunity Fund and join the over 800 local investors with over $200 million invested.
Act now to receive Legacy's Opportunity Fund one-time offer of 7% on short-term cash. Visit Legacy Group Capital at LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. Legacy Family of Funds investments are available to accredited investors only. 7% APR is current rate for the Legacy Group Capital Opportunity Fund. Terms and conditions at LegacyG.com.
High five! Up top! Heck yeah!
Dave's company just got the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business.
Yeah, 5 years!
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
High five for gig speed.
5 years of advanced security.
Security win.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Our rate ain't changing.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
There it is.
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread.
Woohoo!
Now he's got savings.
I'm so excited.
Yep. Dave's feeling it, but it's only for a limited time, so don't wait. Switch today and ask how to get the first ever 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
Woo! Ends 8/21/24. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
There aren't a ton of major position battles happening at Seahawks camp, though there are a few key ones. We're going to take a look at the Seahawks as well as 4 other teams around the league. ESPN NFL Nation put together a list of the biggest NFL training camp position battles. So we're going to get started in Seattle. Brady Henderson says that in Seattle, the biggest position battle appears to be at right guard, where, quote, the only full-time starting spot is still up for grabs between Anthony Bradford and third-round pick Christian Haynes. Now, both you and I talked about how center still feels like very much a battle, so I don't know if it's only right guard. But I am interested to see if the rookie can take this one away from last year's draft pick. What do you think?
Yeah, that's Christian Haynes and Anthony Bradford are looking at each other every day, helping each other out, but sizing each other up at the same time. That is there's like a weird relationship that happens because it's not like you're hating on the next man. It's not like you want him to fail, but you also just want to grab the position and go. And when you draft the guards in consecutive rounds, that means something. That means that you're still looking and you're still searching. And what that can do is it could bring out the great in somebody. Competition. It brings out the great, and sometimes it weeds out the weak. Not saying either of those guys are weak or whatnot, but competition is great. So yeah, if Anthony Bradford wins this job, I think that means that Christian Haynes gets to sit and watch and wait for his opportunity. If Haynes wins this job, then Anthony Bradford does the same thing. He has 1 year on him in the league, but not a lot of experience. So competition is good.
Yeah, I before we get to a couple other teams, wanted to just take a split second to see if there were any other position battles with Seattle, just because we obviously know this team the best, that you're personally interested in, or is it mostly along the offensive line?
Yeah, I think you have to start at the offensive line, and then I'm looking at the corners because I've seen some rotation in the corners. I've seen different corners start with the ones at times. I'm not going to give up too much info because we're obligated not to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at the corners and saying, all right, who is going to be the guy to kind of take the position and run with it? There has been some consistency when it comes to the number ones when it comes out there, but then there have been times where there have been some other bodies in there. There are a couple guys that I think you can count on being out there, but there are a few who are chomping at the bit and getting some opportunity.
All right, let's get to some of the other position battles happening across the NFL. We're going to try to focus on the fun ones, right? And what's more fun than a quarterback controversy for everyone except for those two quarterbacks. What happening in Pittsburgh, obviously, is Russell Wilson, who entered training camp apparently in the starting job with it being his to lose, but then he had a calf injury, which made things very interesting, says Brooke Pryor for ESPN. Justin Fields says Brooke has taken nearly all the first-team reps. His best practice came in the team's first padded practice, where he completed every single pass attempt. Now, he offers Pittsburgh a very intriguing option, a little more intriguing than the older Russell Wilson if he does work out, though Russell's also been there, done that. How do you see this thing playing out? Is it now Justin's job to lose?
I think it is. I think the worst thing that happened to Russell Wilson was him waking up and having, soreness in his calf, I think it was, and Justin Fields getting opportunity. Because naturally, you're going to go with the veteran, the guy who's been in the league 10, 11 years, 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. You got to give him the strongest look because he's been there and done that. But when you allow a young guy who was more mobile, who was, the second leading rusher at the quarterback position last year, the guy who can extend plays and throw those off-script throws, it gives you a bit more options. I think Russell Wilson can do that. I think Russell Wilson's kind of like in the midlife crisis of his life, right? I was hanging out with some boys this past week, and we're all like, damn, dog, we're about to be 40. Like
just thinking about it.
Midlife crisis coming up. You start to move different. Things are important. That step off the curb looks a bit higher than it used to.
Yeah, you start to look at those Skechers ads thinking, well, maybe.
Those slip-ons look good.
They look comfortable, man.
I think that's just where Russell Wilson is. And when you give a young man opportunity, then Arthur Smith, who was the offensive coordinator over there, he starts to visualize this offense with him. So I think it is Justin Fields' job to lose, but I wouldn't count Russell Wilson out. He's got a lot of experience.
All right, our next one, we are heading to L.A. This one is not a quarterback battle, but I thought you'd be interested in it since you know about these two running backs, and you also are obviously a huge fan of creative offenses, and the Rams are one of those. Kyron Williams is RB1 in Los Angeles for the Rams, but they have a third-round pick, Blake Corum out of Michigan, who's really impressed in camp. And I will add this point, Bump, before throwing it to you. I was listening to Mina Kimes' podcast, and she went and visited a couple training camps around the league. She said, look, there are still questions about the Rams' defense without Aaron Donald and with the number of injuries they faced so far, but that this offense is looking amazing. What do you think so far of this running back battle?
I bet they are looking amazing. You have your veteran quarterback. You have a 1-2 combo in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who are going to be just fine. You have a tight end in Tyler Higbee, who's going to be great. Kobe Parkinson is over there. We know what he can do. And now you have two running backs who can go at it. Kyron Williams was the one of the bigger surprises to me in the division. 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns last year, averaged 5 yards a clip. If you can save him 50 touches, 60 touches, you're going to extend his shelf life as a running back.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should embrace this. I know that there's something called an ego that some of these guys have, Stacy, and it can kind of mess up the way they view things. But if I'm Kyron Williams, I'm looking at Blake Corum and saying, all right, man, let's go get it. 1-2 combo. Let's get after it. That's the last thing we wanted to hear was that that Sean McVay has another weapon that he can use out of that backfield. So good for Blake. I thought he was going to be good in this league, and I think he's in a great offense, and Sean McVay is going to use him properly. Team him up with Kyron Williams, man. You don't know what's going to happen.
God, after listening to that about the Rams, thinking about Marvin Harrison with the Arizona Cardinals, who quietly were improving at the end of last season, and obviously you know what the 49ers are, I am so nervous about this division as a whole.
Yeah, it's going to be more competitive than what people think.
Mm-hmm.
I think by week 3 or 4, people are going to be looking at the NFC West and saying, that might be one of the more competitive divisions.
All right, let's get to another quarterback battle here. Bump, pick your poison between the Raiders or Broncos. Who do you want to hear about first?
Let's go Raiders.
All right, well, we got a kook here. Gardner Minshew competing with Aiden O'Connell. The Raiders do not have a lot of answers at quarterback. Instead, a lot of question marks competing for that starting gig. But Gardner Minshew, should he win out over second-year returner Aiden O'Connell, has at least proven he can start for several weeks. I mean, he looked really solid for Jacksonville. He's kind of one of those, like, to me, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of thing where it's like he could get really hot and look really solid before he kind of runs into mistakes. And I don't know how many people are expecting the Raiders to make the playoffs, so maybe that's good enough for them this year. How do you see this one playing out?
I think Gardner Minshew has earned the right to be in the lead when it comes to this quarterback position. One season, in 4 games, he completed 68% with Philly. In 14 games, he completed 60% with Jacksonville. 1 year, 21 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns last year. It's not like he's going out there and not competing. You want a veteran out there. And if you guys have watched Netflix Receiver, you better find a guy who can throw it to Devontae Adams or he's going to be gone before this thing is all said and done. It's all about making him happy at this point. And I think Gardner Minshew gives you the best opportunity to do that. I love the comparison to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that's exactly what his career is going to be like. Maybe hang around for a couple of years here, play 8 games there, and just be a guy who's reliable and who can keep you competitive. That's all you want to be right now is competitive. And I think Minshew gives you the best opportunity over there.
All right, meanwhile, Bo Nix is competing out in Denver. And while we all expect Bo Nix to eventually take over, I mean, he was the 12th overall pick, their first-round pick, their future at quarterback. They've made that clear. Jarrett Stidham currently first on that depth chart. Who knows how long that lasts, though, Bump?
Man, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one, Stacy.
No?
Because I feel like Sean Payton is just you can't really put your finger on who he is. You know, we thought we knew who he was because he was with Drew Brees over there in New Orleans and had him for 10-plus years and knew what he was going to get out of him. In this situation, he's reaching. You got Zach Wilson over there as well. You got Jarrett Stidham. You got Bo Nix. And you hear a lot of great things about Bo Nix. And I think I read an article and Peyton's talking about his pocket presence is great. But I also think that Sean Payton has all his quarterbacks on a short leash. And the way that him and Russell Wilson kind of had a falling out kind of makes me a bit concerned about what if you throw out the rookie in Bo Nix and he's looking like a rookie. Like, Coach, he is a rookie. You've dealt with the veteran that you didn't get along with. You were blessed with Drew Brees. This is a position he hasn't been in a long time. So I just don't know how Sean Payton is going to respond to the failures that are inevitable. You have Bo Nix, a rookie, Stidham, who I don't know how he keeps finding a team, and Zach Wilson in the league. You're going to have some failures, Coach. So I'm just concerned. I'm like, what is Sean Payton going to do with this?
Okay, very, very last one. We'll be quick with it, but this one thrown in just because it's interesting, which is wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers moved on from Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, no longer have Gerald Everett. And when you think of Chargers, you sometimes think of some really great wide receivers, whether it's Williams, Allen, whoever. But now they've got a group with some young guys or unproven and inexperienced players. You've got DJ Chark Jr., who's there. He's the only Chargers receiver to have ever eclipsed 1,000 yards in a season. So this is going to be one that, as a former wide receiver, Bump, I'm sure you're going to keep your eye on because they have one of the best young quarterback arms with a lot of uncertainty at wide receiver.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, I believe he's banged up right now, but he'll be fine. He'll be good to go. The thing about the receiver position is that, look, you can be young and ball out. So, yes, there are some concerns, but you still got Lab McConkey out of Georgia over there, Brendan Rice out of USC, Quentin Johnston out of TCU is still there. There's some talent. They got to put it together, but if there's any position that has shown they can ball out early, it's the wideout spot.
All right, you're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app, our training camp coverage presented by The Landing in Renton. We are getting back to training camp, projecting the Seahawks offensive and defensive players of the year coming up at 11. Before we do, though, we got to talk Mariners, where one Seattle Mariner is very quietly heating up. That's next.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run.
You never know when a team is going to get hot. This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
I'm here with my friend Mark Clymer from Wayscar Ford, Isuzu in Auburn. Mark, is now the best time to buy a new car?
Well, it absolutely is right now because we have our factory invoice sale going on right now, which means you're going to pay what we pay. And this is on all our 24 model vehicles, basically, everything except for Raptors. So we're talking F-150s, Rangers, Mavericks, F-250s, Explorers, Escapes, Expeditions. You name it, these are brand new 2024 models. They also come with our lifetime powertrain coverage and 5 days or 500-mile, 100% money-back guarantee, so you can shop with total confidence. There's no negotiating, nothing. You pay what we pay. We're overstocked right now, and we need to make room. We have a lot more vehicles coming in. So, yeah, you're right. If you've been putting it off and you're looking to get a new Ford, for a limited time, we're having our factory invoice sale. You pay what we pay.
Take the hassle out of car shopping. You know you're getting a great deal at Wayscar Ford, Isuzu in Auburn. WayscarFord.com.
To celebrate Team USA going for gold, Xfinity is offering a gold medal deal now through August 11th. Get their best offer yet with 300 megabit Xfinity internet and one line of unlimited mobile for just $35 a month for a year and a free 5G phone. And the action doesn't stop there. Save on some of the biggest names in streaming by adding the new Xfinity Stream Saver with Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $15 a month. And don't wait, because when the Olympic Games end, so does this deal. So go to Xfinity.com/Team USA, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a store today. Get the fastest connection to Paris, only with Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to internet and mobile. Stream Saver price subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Free 5G phone requires eligible trade-in. Select models only, but make the call and don't wait to 1-800-XFINITY.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and smart home technology, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
It's a summer smackdown at Muckleshoot Event Center. August 31st, Live MMA is back with the best and most exciting live combat in the Northwest. Glory, respect, legacy. It's all on the line August 31st. Get your tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. Muckleshoot.
Have you been searching for a local, trustworthy group of professionals to assist with your mortgage? Hey, this is Brock Heward, and you can count on Tila Mortgage. They've been the go-to mortgage experts in Washington for over 25 years. If you are 62 or older and want to learn more about reverse mortgages, well, Tila can help you decide if it's the right choice for you. If monthly payments are impacting your credit score and just killing your cash flow, Tila can assist you in consolidating your debt with proven programs like a refinance loan or a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, enabling you to maintain your low fixed rate first mortgage. Additionally, if you're purchasing a new home, well, Tila can guide you through the ins and outs of a home loan as well. With hundreds of 5-star reviews, Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a trusted source for honest and ethical mortgage advice. Call Tila today at 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Bump, yesterday with B-Wall, you guys mentioned Haniger talking about learning from veteran leadership. And so Mitch Haniger and the Mariners has already been a topic of conversation, though Shannon Dreyer just recently wrote a piece for SeattleSports.com detailing what Mitch Haniger has done to adjust his game. So in addition to Mitch talking with some veterans, he's genuinely been seeing some improvement, which could not get here soon enough. Here's what Scott Service had to say about it.
Yeah, he told me he was, and he said it about 10 days ago. I'm about to get hot. And, you can just see he's seeing the ball better. His timing's good. The quality at bats, he's hitting the ball harder. Not always getting the ball to fall in, but he has here recently. And when he gets hot, he can hit any pitch. He can hit who's ever on the mound, righty or lefty, and we're seeing that right now.
In his last 7, he's 286, 400, 571, 6 for 21, got 4 hits in that series against the Phillies. So again, these aren't like amazing, out of this world numbers, but Bump, considering that in his last 30, he's hitting below 200, this is a big improvement for Haniger.
My man didn't have one game in July with a multi-hit game.
Oh, my God.
So far in August, he's got 2 of them things already. In July, he hit 2 bombs. So far in August, he's got 2. He's squaring it up. And I think Service pointed it out. He goes, look, they might not be dropping all the time, but you can tell when a batter is starting to figure things out. Mm-hmm. The swing gets balanced. He's pulling it when he's supposed to pull it. He's hitting it hard. It might not drop and play all the time, but he's starting to see it. He mentioned, talking to Turner has kind of helped him through that as well. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that that people don't see when it comes to getting a veteran like Turner who's been in the game for a while. So, yeah, you needed it to happen. And also, I pointed it out yesterday, I love that he threw it out there. He put it out into the universe. I'm going to get hot here soon. Mm-hmm. I'm a big component of just self-talk, positivity. You believe it, then the mind will believe it, the body will do it. So these are the type of performances you need. You need a guy like Haniger to hit the switch and start hitting the ball.
I think there's some people that don't believe that enough. I'm one of them, right? Like, I tend to be, as a person, just very negative, very fearful. I mean, I literally spent 5 minutes talking about how I almost died on an ATV to open the show. And I do think there's some people that they hear players or athletes talk about that, and they think, oh, that's just talk. Like, that's just saying something to say something. But it does, Bump, feel very crucial to making actual strides. Like, you have to believe you're going to do it, because if, 40,000 people at a park are booing you, you can't be like, you're right.
Yeah.
I suck.
I look at, I hope everyone's been watching as much of the Olympics as you can watch. Like, yesterday I watched Japan and Italy go at it, and I was Japanese for about an hour. I was rooting so hard for Japan. And the passion that they display and the things that they say to themselves. Like Noah Lyles, for example, before his race, I'm watching the 100-meter dash, the final, and they zoom up on him, and I'm reading his lips. He goes, this is your moment. You can do this. You prepare for this. I'm talking to my kids. I go, this is at the highest stages you can do it, and these athletes are doing it. You have to do this. So, no, I believe in it 100%. If you tell yourself negative things are going to happen and you're scared, then you're gonna stop yourself from being great and doing, like, 20-foot jumps on the ATVs. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, my God.
You got to tell yourself you can do it.
I just need to make it clear about the ATVs just so that everyone knows. This was about 90 minutes to 2 hours that we were on them. So we started at 8:30, where the sunlight was still kind of up. So I just need everyone to know that on the way back, it was completely dark, and I'm just looking over the edge of cliffs. So before anyone starts judging me, know that I stared death in the face on those ATVs, and it was horrifying. Bump, I think you would have had a blast. I think you would have had the time of your life out there. It is not for me. I felt so silly when I got off of it, being like, well, now that I'm touching solid ground, it's like being afraid of flying, and then you get off the plane at the airport and you go, oh, why was I worried? There's like millions of people that just did the same thing.
Hey, but you did it.
But I did it. I'm stronger. Here's what Mitch had to say about his first half.
The frustrating part was like the work is always good. The BP felt good. Just the results in the game were not there. The missing pitches, just constantly kind of feeling like I'm always ready to break through and it not happening, and then just always watching film and comparing the present to the past and seeing where I'm at and what I need to adjust, and kind of light bulb went off, and it's like I wish it didn't take me 2.5 months or 3 months to figure it out, but I'm glad I did.
That would be one of the toughest parts though, Bump, is feeling like you're approaching your BP and you're approaching all the things, not just how you've always done it, but in a way that's worked for you before. I would imagine when we were having conversations about, God, this offense is so frustrating, these players are having the same conversations because they think they're doing the right things.
Yeah, he said the work has always been good.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is that he believes in the process. He believes in what he's doing, and he's probably seen other people do the same thing and have success. The hard part is sticking with that and hoping that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So that might have been the best thing that Haniger has done, is not deviate from the process and now try all these different things, and now there's an overload of data. I mean, that can hurt an athlete as well.
What's something a quarterback should absolutely, positively never do during training camp? Bump's going to tell us coming up in 4-Down territory at 11:15. Before we get to it, feel free to join this conversation on the Mac and Jack's text line. Project your Seahawks offensive and defensive players of the year. You can join this conversation, 866-979-3776. That's the Mac and Jack's text line. Your answers and ours coming up next.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Seattle Sports will be at Seahawks headquarters, taking you onto the field with the team. Interviews, analysis, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage as Gino and the Hawks get ready for the 2024 season.
Ball picked up. Witherspoon comes near side. He is in. Witherspoon with the interception for a touchdown.
Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
As a Washington State business, you can take advantage of Labor and Industries' no-cost safety and health consultation program. We can help you build out your accident prevention plan, meet safety obligations, and reduce your risk of costly safety citations. You can have us look at a single item or your entire facility. And consultations are confidential, which means you will not be cited if a hazard is found. You'll just need to fix it, and we can help you with that as well. There isn't a safety question we can't help with. To learn more, visit lni.wa.gov/consultations.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers who chunk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Hey, Bob Stelton here, and have you heard that metal roofs are all the rage? A metal roof lasts longer, it's more eco-friendly, and is a great option for adding solar panels. Asset Roofing is leading the local push in metal roofing, and they can even offer metal roofs for up to 30% less than their competitors. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Head to assetroofingco.com.
Certified work is never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
The big one is underway now for all you contractors, builders, and heavy equipment operators. A 3-day huge auction event presented by Murphy Auction Company and featuring literally tons of heavy equipment, heavy trucks, cars, vans, SUVs, and a massive assortment of contractor tools like a 2019 John Deere 650K LGP dozer, a 2018 John Deere 210G LC excavator, a 2015 Leadboy paver, 21 diesel-powered excavators from John Deere, Bobcat, Hitachi, and Cat. And that's just for openers. We got 13 backhoes up for grabs, 5 telescopic forklifts, 4 rollers, 12 telescopic boom lifts, and 6 skid steer loaders. Oh, one more thing. Over 100 heavy trucks to choose from. You can set your eyes on all this gear at our public preview, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., now through Wednesday the 7th, at our Marysville location, corner of 136th and State Street. For photos and all details, check murphyauction.com.
John here with Happy Hauler. Furniture and household items you plan to throw away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices. Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips? But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. Or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS.
For eligible individuals, 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Select's premium package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home. All done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better.
You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge.
Oh, you people are wonderful.
Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee.
I hear better than I ever thought possible.
Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to JabraEnhance.com/try. That's JABRA Enhance.com/try. JabraEnhance.com/try.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Per ESPN, the 49ers are now willing to listen to trade offers for wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk, and the New England Patriots and Cleveland Browns have both been interested. ESPN's Mike Reese reports the Pats have been pursuing a trade of Aiyuk for a few months now, which would give their number 3 overall pick, Drake May, an exciting new weapon. Meanwhile, the Browns just need a stellar receiver. They have a clear number 1 in Amari Cooper, but plenty of question marks after that on their depth chart. While the 49ers have reportedly engaged in these trade talks, they're also willing to keep Aiyuk on the roster this year, even without a new contract.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Who's your Seahawks offensive and defensive player of the year? Guess what? You got to make a pick and stick with it no matter what, which is the tough part about projecting because we haven't seen these guys yet in a real game. 866-979-3776. That is the Mac and Jack's text line. Feel free to join this conversation. Our training camp coverage presented by The Landing in Renton. Bump, we're going to start on offense. Your offensive player of the year nominee goes to whom?
People are going to say, oh, Bum, you're boring. Of course it's this guy, right? But it's got to be Geno.
Gotta be.
It's got to be Geno. You are the conductor of this offense. You are the guy who goes into the huddle, who spits out that long sentence that tells everyone what to do, get to the line of scrimmage, make sure everyone's said. You are the thing that makes this go. You don't have to be an MVP candidate. You don't have to be a Pro Bowl type of dude. You have to be the best version of yourself. But the best version of Geno is a Pro Bowl caliber type of quarterback, but it's all contingent on what happens around him. So I'm looking at Geno, and I'm going with the easy pick. Geno has to and will be the MVP of this team, of this offense, and I'm excited just to see the steps that he takes forward.
Well, you know he's going to put in a lot of effort to make those steps. Here's what Jackson Smith and Jigba had to say about Geno's work.
Geno, since I met him, I mean, he's been, one of the hardest workers I've been around. And, every day, I don't know how he does it, but, he can sling the ball 1,000 times a day, like literally. So it doesn't matter where we at, what time of day it is, he's always willing to work. And, I'm going to be, next to him working always, whenever.
Bump, I always go back to a lot of what Robert Mays of The Athletic had to say when he was on with us, and he was like, look, I don't know how many people are going to believe me, but Geno's genuinely one of my favorite players to watch. Just his type of quarterback, the type of passer that Geno is, that happens to be something that's just up his alley. He just enjoys watching guys that can be accurate, throw a pretty ball, and we know that Geno can do that. I think because the standard for like what a franchise quarterback looks, sounds, feels like is so insanely high, people see Geno as someone who can't possibly meet that marker. But, Bump, I think if a lot of the other pieces around him are working, Geno can be special.
I agree. If Tua didn't have Reek, Waddle, Beckham, Mostert, everything that he has over there, he could still be a good quarterback. He's not, in my opinion, he's not getting paid $55 million a year. He's not. If Brock Purdy doesn't have Kittle, Debo, Aiyuk, McCaffrey, good quarterback, he's not getting paid $55 million a year, and the age has something to do with it. I look at Geno, and this is the best situation he's ever been in as a pro, and he's shown even when the other side of the ball isn't getting it done, he's able to pull his own weight. So it's circumstantial, and I understand. I'll say it every time. I understand why people will doubt, but I also think that you support Geno correctly, he's going to go out and win you some ball games.
You also got to just accept what you have, right? Like, what realistic options do you have besides Geno Smith right now? The answer is Sam Howell, P.J. Walker.
Yeah.
Or, like, make some massive trade. I don't know, give up everything for Dak Prescott and give him the biggest contract in the league. I guess you could do that. Like, you could get Dallas to maybe blink there. But that's not something they're feasibly going to do. It's not realistic. It's not actually happening. So people do this thing of, like, it's like me saying, like, oh, I wish I was 5'10". Well, that's not an option. Like, it's not something that's going to be true or can be true, so why even lament that it's not? Like, why lament that you have Geno and not Patrick Mahomes when getting Patrick Mahomes isn't an option? It also makes you overlook the benefits in having the pieces that you do have, or the advantages in having some of the pieces that you have. You don't get to have fun watching the team you have when all you're doing is wanting something else.
If you were to have a quarterback who's making $60 million a year, you go after Dak, that means one of your receivers are going to be out of here pretty soon. That means the lineman is going to be gone. The defensive lineman is going to be gone. I just really like collectively the group of guys that they have. Still got to come together, right, and make things happen. But where they stand right now, I think this is a good situation for Geno.
All right, my offensive player of the year is also kind of a boring pick. So I'm backing you up here by saying that sometimes for offensive players, there were just more obvious answers. Mine is Jackson Smith and Jigba. He was the #1 name that people were talking about during mandatory minicamp and OTAs, and it was for good reason. You and I have seen him out there. He's smooth. He looks great. And he's a guy also that, like, I feel like we just didn't see everything we possibly could have last year. It was a crowded wide receiver room. He had a slow adjustment to the league, maybe naturally if he wouldn't have been hurt, but being hurt and coming off of a wrist procedure probably didn't help with that. He talked about the expectations he has for himself in year 2.
Slowing the game down and really making defenders feel my moves, just really understanding the timing and the progression of the quarterback, I feel like is way better. And just my timing and different things I can sell against, the DB. I feel like my mind has been, better, and, we've seen a little bit of progress, but got to keep working.
Bump, until you get out there and prove it on actual game day, there's little else you can do besides just continue to take steps forward. I can at least say that that's what Jackson has done.
Yeah, and he's, man, wide receiver talk gets me so excited. Like, I'm hearing what he's saying. How to move defenders, the timing and all that. once he understands that completely, the game is going to be so slow to him. He's already a hell of a ball player, and the game isn't as fast as it is for someone who's third or fourth on the depth chart for sure. But him understanding that there's still so much to do is amazing. Yesterday, B-Walt said he predicts that Jackson Smith-Njigba has the most targets on the team. And I go, if that happens, that means that he's being moved in different places. That means that he's going long, he's going short. That means he's doing everything. JSN, when it's all said and done, is probably going to be here longer than DK, just off of age and contract and all that stuff, right? You need to see him take these steps forward. So when it's time for him to be the number one guy, he's ready to go. So, no, I like that pick. It ain't boring to me. That's a wideout for me, Stacy, so I'm loving it.
All right. Let's see. JSN, no surprise here, and Gino, some answers on the Mac and Jack's text line. You guys can join this 866-979-3776. Who is your projected defensive player of the year for the Seattle Seahawks? 866-979-3776, Mac and Jack's text line. Bump, who do you got on defense?
I got to go with Uchenna Nwosu, man. I've watched him out here at VMAC all camp. We understand the impact that he has emotionally and intensity-wise when it comes to this defense. And you need a guy to be in double digits when it comes to sacks. The first person I'm going to look at is Uchenna Nwosu. Edge rushers get paid lots of money for a reason, because they can really determine or predict or dictate what a quarterback is going to do and to supply a certain amount of pressure that no other position can unless you're sending linebackers, and now you're opening up the middle of the field. He's going to be asked to drop into coverage. He's going to be asked to set an edge. And from what I've seen from Uchenna, he's capable and willing to do all of that. If Uchenna Nwosu can get around 11 to 12 sacks this year, which he's capable of, his last full season he had 9.5, this defense is going to be great. I got to go with Uchenna Nwosu.
I think Uchenna Nwosu is also a victim of maybe a lack of spotlight and of a narrative. Like, if Uchenna Nwosu would have been like the single biggest free agent signing for the Seahawks, or if he would have been a draft pick for the Seahawks, I think he would have gotten even more credit for what he did last year, because he was a guy that was competing for starting time with the Chargers and then came to Seattle and played in the AFC, so maybe not a name that people were entirely familiar with. He's not in your division. I think he was a little bit overlooked in a weird way, but you looked at him and you noticed his injury as being a huge hit to that defense, as being something that defense really felt.
Yeah, they felt it. But there was if there's a positive that came out of his injury, it was that other guys were able to get reps.
Yeah.
And in the short term, when you're in a football season, of course you want your number ones out there. But now that he's healthy, he's ready to go, there's going to be a nice rotation in there. So when he taps that helmet, he needs to take a couple plays off or a play off. Guys are going to be ready to go. So I'm excited for Uchenna.
All right. Who is your guys' defensive player of the year projection? If you had to guess right now, who you really think is going to get it, 866-979-3776. This was not mine, so I'm going to say it, but we got a couple people saying Big Cat Leonard Williams as their defensive player of the year nom so far. I could see that one. I think get some love for Leonard Williams. Both Leonard Williams and Dre Jones going to be guys that, like, I don't know that they're leading the team in sacks, so sometimes those guys don't get enough love. So I kind of like those picks. What do you think?
No, I like those picks. It starts with the defensive line, right? I can highlight the edge rushers if I want to, the linebackers, the safeties, the corners. But if those guys aren't able to have gap integrity on the defensive line and stalemate those offensive linemen, or even push them back some, life is going to be difficult for all those guys. You must be able to stop the run. Week one, these guys are going to come out and they're going to test that defensive line and say, last year, this was who you are. Have you improved there? I know you have some of the same names, a couple new names, but can you stop the run, fill up the gaps? I'm not mad at Big Cat.
My pick for defensive player of the year, I also went with the equivalent of picking Gino here. I went with Devin Witherspoon. Obviously, he's the highest draft pick on your team at number 5 overall. He had a phenomenal rookie season, and Mike McDonald truly believes there's more there for them to tap into.
Devin Witherspoon's having a great camp. Not a lot of ball. He always he actually was just calling me 2 minutes ago while you guys were on the line.
You seem hard on him. Are you a little hard on him? Is that part of it? Just listening, it seems like you challenge him a little bit.
Yeah, he's a second-year guy. He needs to get challenged. I mean, he does. I mean, he thinks, whatever he thinks doesn't matter.
What does he think?
He should think that he's a great player. He is a great player, and he does, and he thinks he's a great player. But But there's more there. You know, there's greatness in there, and so it's our job to pull it out of them.
I hadn't noticed Mike McDonald really, really challenging, or coaches really challenging and being hard on Devin. Maybe Bump you had, but what I had noticed is Witherspoon really stepping up into what feels like a vocal kind of borderline leadership role at camp. He is very active in encouraging other players and brings a ton of energy to his own play.
Yeah, last year he was active and loud when it came to himself and making plays, right? Now that he has a year under his belt, he's a Pro Bowler, he feels more established. Now he's more vocal towards his teammates and just the whole energy of practice. And I think eventually that's the progression into leadership. At first you come in as a rookie, you do your job, you play with emotion, you play with passion, but you don't hold anyone accountable. You're a rookie, right? So now his second year in, he goes, I'm here. I'm one of the guys. I'm going to start. When they call for the first team out of defense, I am out there. They're relying on me to make plays. Now he feels like he's in a place where he can hold people accountable, and he is in that place. I think listening to Mike McDonald, he goes, look, yeah, he can do that, but there are some things that I can teach him to make him even better, and he has to be receptive to it. And there's nothing that I've seen or heard that makes me believe that he's not going to be receptive to it.
From the 360, texting from Port Angeles, you want a defensive lineman to come out and be your MVP on defense. If we're killed up front, we're not going to be a playoff team. Your defensive line is doing a good job. It will free up your linebackers to come downhill and cause havoc. Basically saying, like, look, it would be great to have Devin as your MVP, but the MVP on defense for this team had better come from the front seven, specifically that defensive line. Bump, what do you think?
See, look, internally on a football team, you will love for the defensive line to be the MVP, and they should and probably will be. But when you're talking about to the masses, they're not going to look at the defensive line and say, yeah, Cat's the MVP. He doesn't get sacks. He doesn't fill up the stat sheet. So if you understand it, that sounds like a listener who understands football. You need that D-line to do his thing. But when it's time to shine and glitz and glamour, get all these awards, you're looking backers, safeties, corners, edge rushers. So it's a thankless position sometimes, unless you're Chris Jones getting 14 sacks, unless you're Aaron Donald lighting it up like that. I don't think we have that type of player on this team, but you do have someone on that team who can do exactly what they're supposed to do and help everyone else's job be that much easier.
A name that I was surprised to see so many people mention, Bump, not because this player isn't very talented, but because he is floating under the radar, that being Julian Love at safety as some people's nomination. How's he looked so far?
Julian looks good. He looks like a guy who just got paid. He's in a great space mentally. You know what I mean? He's out there. He's having fun.
That new car smell, literally.
That new car, man, ain't nothing like that new car smell. He's flying over the top. I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's another guy, right? He'll have, like Julian Love last year was fun to watch because he had like just spurts. Like he just do his job, stay over the top, make the open field tackle, and then boom, 2 picks in a game. You know, he's that guy who is streaky when it comes to explosive plays, but reliable because you know that he's going to be where he's supposed to be. So yeah, Julian Love has been looking good for sure.
Our training camp coverage presented by The Landing in Renton. Thanks to everyone for participating in this conversation. We're going to stick with football, get to some X's and O's talks in 4 Down territory. Let's go.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, I've been waiting to hear your answer to this one. Bump, what's something a quarterback should never do during training camp?
So I'm up this morning, getting my morning workout, and I'm watching ESPN as I do it, and I see a fight breaks out with the New York Football Giants. I had a joint practice with the Lions, I think. And Daniel Jones is up in the mix trying to fight. Quarterback, sit your butt down. Don't you ever get involved in any of these scuffles, because if one person touches you and you are injured, there's going to be a whole lot of problems out there. You're going to have coaches going after coaches, players going after players. Daniel Jones, I understand you're trying to gain the respect of your teammates. You want to let them know, look, I'm here for you. I got your back. But you wear a different colored jersey for a reason during practice. Nobody can touch you, and nobody should touch you. So the fact that he's getting to the mix and want to throw hands and push and all that stuff, it's an unfair fight. Because people know they're going to look up, see that red jersey, and be like, you know what, can't go there, can't touch that. I'm going to look soft on film, though, because I'm letting this quarterback punk me right now. So quarterbacks, every level, if there is a scuffle at practice, at a joint practice, a training camp, just walk away. No one's going to judge you for it. You are a quarterback.
I just also, Listen, Danny Dimes, I don't know that you're the quarterback who should be getting involved with fights. Like, I wonder if part of him is like, oh, I want to seem like I'm just one of the guys. Like, I'm not afraid to, get in the middle of it and throw hands and be physical and all of that. But, like, yeah, my guy, you got to just focus on not throwing picks, on making the right decisions,
Don't throw hands, don't throw picks.
Exactly. Just 2 rules you should have for yourself. Second down. What is the most fascinating thing about potential Seahawk Conor Williams?
I think we've seen technology in the body just advance. People understand the body a lot more now than they did 10, 15 years ago. The fact that this man had an ACL injury December 11th, and his agent is saying he is ready to go week 1 is crazy. If the Seahawks did not think that he was going to be available week 1, I don't think they make this signing. So that means he came out here and he worked out and he performed great. The more I look at these ACL injuries, the more fascinated I am by it. My dad has a scar from like mid-thigh to mid-shin when he blew out his ACL like in the early 90s or something like that. And it took him a while to get back, and he still walks with a limp and all that good stuff. These guys are getting injured, and within 9 months, they are back on the football field and trying to play. So that just fascinates me because if and when he gets to this team, he can play guard, he can play center. But him coming back from an injury like that so quickly, like Jordan Brooks did, like Adrian Peterson was the first one we kind of seen do it, is amazing to me. That also tells me that he has a lot of discipline. That means he exercised when he was supposed to. It means he ate the right things. He was diligent every single day. He stuck to the plan. So that shows a lot of discipline. That type of discipline shows up everywhere in your life. It'll show up on the football field.
Third down. You do not agree with the Patriots' approach to the preseason. Why?
Man, they're trying to figure out who their quarterback is, and they're saying they're going to play all 4 quarterbacks. Like, come on, guys. Come on, guys. You got a young quarterback in Drake May over there who needs the reps. You got Jacoby Brissett. You should be focusing on those 2 guys, maybe the 3rd guy. You shouldn't even have a 4th guy in camp right now, honestly. Limiting your first 2 guys when you don't even know who the starter is going to be, I think is going to hurt you even more. So if they're saying, the 4th guy is going to play the last 10 snaps of the game, then all right, so be it. But I think that you got to see Drake May and Jacoby Brissett go at it because you don't know who your starter is going to be. I understand the approach. I don't like the approach because you know who your franchise guy is going to be eventually.
I feel like anytime teams have, it's one thing if, let's say Justin Fields and Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, when they're like, oh, we're going to try out both of them. I genuinely believe that is a quarterback battle that's happening. They're trying to figure it out. That's fair. I don't think that they're just playing games with people.
Right.
When you used a number 2 pick on Jaden Daniels or a number 3 pick on Drake May, or can you imagine if the Bears, with Caleb Williams, were like, yeah, we're still testing the waters? I don't believe you. I truly don't believe you. It's like someone who only dates 10s being like, I just like a personality. I like a good personality. I like someone who's nice. No, you don't. No, you don't. I think this every time I watch those reality TV dating shows bump. These people will come on and they'll be like, I'm just looking for a good personality. No, you aren't.
Nah.
You're looking for 6'2" with washboard abs, or you're looking for like a perfect body. Like, you are not looking for a good personality. That's how I feel when these teams say, yeah, it's an open battle. We're figuring it out. No, it's not. Drake May's your starter. Stop it. 4th down. Personality. What did you hear from Bob Condotta that was very interesting?
Bob sat down with us yesterday. I pointed out that I've never seen him without a hoodie on. I go, Bob, it's 80 degrees out here. Bob got the hoodie on. But when we started talking football, and specifically the Seahawks, obviously, he mentioned that Jake Bobo might be a part of the Ball Cap Club. And the Ball Cap Club means that when you're watching these preseason games, after they run out the tunnel, maybe after a series, there's a bunch of guys on the sideline with their pads off, with their ball caps on, and Jake Bobo might be entering that club. And I thought that was fascinating because undrafted guy to UCLA, had 700 yards his senior year, transfer from Duke, and he's made a name for himself. He has a following here in Seattle already. He's made the biggest play in this camp so far, and to see an undrafted free agent ascend the way that he has in this organization, it's rewarding and it's fun to watch. So now my question is, who's going to be the other guys in the Ball Cap Club who have kind of a similar story or weren't counted on initially to be a part of this team? Jake Bobo is making a name for himself on this team. He's going to be good on special teams. I believe they're going to have some packages for him. It was interesting to hear, and I'm happy for Jake Bobo.
I'm trying to think if there's someone else that's going to join that group. I know that earlier you talked about Arty Burns looking really solid as a veteran. Let's see. I don't know about it.
If I'm looking at the guard spot.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony Bradford or Christian Haynes, who's going to join the ball cap club. The starters are in the ball cap club. So there's not many guys who can make that transition who aren't there right now. But there are a couple spots, man. If you get an offensive lineman to get in there and then maybe a backup safety who you know is going to play like a Kobe Bryant or somebody, those are two candidates of the ball cap club.
Hey, related to conversations about the ball cap club, those guys are not going to be playing in the preseason, right? Because the point of wearing the ball cap, you're not wearing the helmet, you're trying to play it safe, stay uninjured. The Panthers said that they're going to hold Bryce Young out from at least the first preseason game, and I'm assuming that they're going to continue to do this for the next two. Do you think that's the wrong decision for a team that's really trying to figure out what they've got at quarterback?
No, because they know he's going to be the guy, you know, and I think they're going to do those joint practices, and they're going to be able to control his live reps. So it'll never be completely live, but they'll be able to control it. I think I don't know who's their backup quarterback over there.
Let me look this up while you're talking.
But that's the thing is they know Bryce Young's going to be the dude.
Yeah.
So it's not a real competition.
So they've got Andy Dalton, who I think is injured. So maybe he would if he weren't injured. But they've got Jack Plummer. It says Jack Plummer, and Jake Luton. And those two guys are presumably going to be playing preseason week one.
I think you said it. If Andy Dalton was available and they felt secure, maybe he gets a few snaps now. You might see him. I think you should see him at some point, but the first game, there's no need.
God, there's so many names that I kind of forget that they moved. Like, I completely forgot that Adam Thielen was with the Panthers.
Yeah.
Let's see. You've got Jonathan Mingo over there. Ashawn Robinson is with the pit. Like, I just forget that guys. Jadeveon Clowney with the Panthers right now. I had completely blanked on that. Didn't realize that had happened. We've got some interesting battles there on their defense. All right, we are going to be talking about the Mariners' trade deadline moves. Jeff Passen had a lot to say about this team. He joined Brock and Salk earlier. Before we get to it, though, another great story to come from the Olympics is coming your way next.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Seattle Sports will be at Seahawks headquarters, taking you onto the field with the team. Interviews, analysis, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage as Gino and the Hawks get ready for the 2024 season.
Ball picked up. Witherspoon comes near side. He is in. Witherspoon with the interception for a touchdown.
Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
It's this commitment, this philosophy that represents the LJ way.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Summer is here. If you're dealing with a pest problem, get the relief you need and the long-term protection you deserve with Issaquah Pest Control. Look, rodents and bugs can ruin your insulation or the structure of your home or business. Before it becomes a more costly issue, call Issaquah Pest Control, the fast, kind, and professional pest control service. And if you're in the pest control business or have an interest, they're hiring, so join the team. Issaquah Pest Control, serving the entire Puget Sound. IssaquahPest.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The Mariners are all about giving you more baseball for your buck. Snag seats for as little as $10 on select dates all season long with Mariners Value Games. Plus, be sure to check out the Mariners Value Menu, available at every game and featuring 11 items priced from $2.50 to $4. Enjoy ballpark classics like hot dogs and peanuts, new treats like churros and chocolate chip cookies, and more. To get your Value Game tickets and check out all the value options at T-Mobile Park, go to mariners.com/value.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And while cars do need wheels, they also need insurance. And insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever. The Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
This is it. Shop the Lowe's Closeout event to get up to 70% off select major appliances for your home. Plus, get up to 60% off select patio furniture and accessories for your outdoor spaces. So hurry into your local store today because these deals are too good to last. Shop them now before they're gone because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need. You gotta love baseball season, but when it comes to your windows, you don't want any curveballs. Rick Riz here, reminding you to trust your clubhouse with locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Experience the difference with high-quality products, expert installation, and top-notch customer service. It's always a home run with Pella. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Just go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
Have you been searching for a local, trustworthy group of professionals to assist with your mortgage? Hey, this is Brock Heward, and you can count on Tila Mortgage. They've been the go-to mortgage experts in Washington for over 25 years. If you are 62 or older and want to learn more about reverse mortgages, well, Tila can help you decide if it's the right choice for you. If monthly payments are impacting your credit score and just killing your cash flow, Tila can assist you in consolidating your debt with proven programs like a refinance loan or a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, enabling you to maintain your low fixed rate first mortgage. Additionally, if you're purchasing a new home, well, Tila can guide you through the ins and outs of a home loan as well. With hundreds of 5-star reviews, Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a trusted source for honest and ethical mortgage advice. Call Tila today at 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Well, Bump, our first story in the timeline is more of a do you buy it or not moment from new Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh. As you know, Jim Harbaugh, former coach at Michigan, faced allegations of cheating. There was the sign stealing scandal where a former assistant with the program, Connor Stallions, went to different locations and was maybe filming or taking stuff. And then there's some recruiting violations that his organization is also facing. He's denied any wrongdoing and recently talked about this, at one point even refusing to apologize. So he, just so you know, is talked about it and said, we looked at this already. Never lie, never cheat, never steal. I was raised with that lesson. I've raised my family in that lesson. I've preached that lesson to the teams I've coached. No one's perfect. If you stumble, you apologize, you make it right. Today, I do not apologize. I did not participate, was not aware nor complicit in these allegations. So it's back to work, attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Love that final line from Jim Harbaugh. He faces an accusation of committing a level 1 violation, which is the most serious one. Also important to note, the NCAA accuses Harbaugh of not cooperating because he denied the NCAA access to view relevant text messages and phone records from his cell.
So, Stacy, I did some investigating myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hit up some people that I know and some places that know Jim Harbaugh. And I asked them, all right, what do you think of this whole situation? And I got 2 responses. One response was it could make sense that he had no idea, because him as a person is kind of like, coordinators, you go do your thing. Only come to me when you absolutely need me. If not, you go ahead and go to work. The other side of this thing was there's no way that that person is communicating with your coordinators and you don't have any type of idea. Right. And guys could have been like, look, you just don't text him. You don't call him. Like, you just keep him out of this. So if it does come out, it looks like he has no idea what's going on. Now, my opinion, there's no freaking way he didn't know what was going on. That is your program. You're getting information from your coordinators. There's some communication going. What they did, they kept it old school and kept it G and just made it all verbal. So there's no real paper trail. But then you start deleting things. Then you're denying access. You incriminate yourself. Mm-hmm. So no, I think there's no way he didn't know what was going on. If he didn't know what was going on, I'll tell you one thing. I watched that press conference. He did a great job of selling it. He was in theater when he was in high school or maybe in college because he was locked into them with the lines. The emotion was on point. I mean, he killed it. I'm like, all right, but I still don't believe him.
I mean, I think there's always a world where it's possible, right? Like sometimes, I have a preconceived notion that most head coaches at that level and higher will do anything it takes to win. If I hear about an organization, if I were to hear that the Dodgers were cheating, I would just believe it because I would think, well, you get to that level and you do whatever it takes to win, and it's so incredibly competitive. I find it easier to believe than to not. And I feel that way about Jim Harbaugh. So I understand I have an underlying bias here that I just believe that it makes sense that he would have done this. So it's possible he didn't. But I'm with you, Bump. I have a hard time thinking a head coach who is so heavily involved with his program doesn't at least know it's. There's no way that I see a world where someone is getting plane tickets to go to these different games. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, we were cheating because I'm a recruiter who, I really wanted to hit certain numbers, so I offered, $50 to someone for a meeting. This is something that I find it hard to believe a head coach wouldn't have heard.
Yeah, no, there's no way. When you, it's communication. You're stealing signs, correct? So if you are stealing signs and you are presenting to your coach what the game plan is for the week and why this is going to work, you're going to reveal some information that lets people know you got some insight. Some information that will at least have you ask the right questions if you don't know what's going on, which you and I don't believe it. There's just so many levels to this that it's hilarious, but NCAA can't do nothing. Jim's in L.A. He's with the Chargers now, and he's going to make a whole lot of money.
Well, if you thought that Little League coaches and managers were just about making kids feel better and not about tough love, you're wrong. Our next story here found a Little League manager fed up with players on a hot mic moment.
Are you guys kidding me right now?
He's not joking.
This is what I'm not going to say nothing. You guys can go to center. You go to short. All right. This is what they put on the air, and you guys are sitting there messing around. Just go back to second base, dude. Just go. They're here to hear me talk, not you.
Well, again, we thank the managers or coaches for wearing mics, and don't think for a second that the players don't realize it.
Now, at the time, his team had a 10-1 lead in this game. The manager's name is Bill Andronopoulos. I believe they represent New Jersey. So they were beating Staten Island 11-1, that afternoon. So I don't know, Bump. Maybe he felt like his players were celebrating too much. Maybe he wanted to remind them I'm the star of the show. But either way, I was a little surprised to hear that from a Little League manager.
I wasn't. Not at all. Nope. Here's the thing. Those moments are great, and I'm glad that they do mic some of these guys up because you do capture some great moments.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing. But let's be 100, man. These are kids who get on your nerves sometimes, who make mistakes, and who need some tough love sometimes. They just need some realness. It's going to happen. You're not going to capture the Disney moment every time you mic one of these guys up. It's good for TV. It's good for business.
Yeah.
But that's not reality. So that was reality right there. I was feeling that.
I loved the beginning where the kid, I'm going to play it again. He's not kidding.
Are you guys kidding me right now?
He's not joking.
He's not joking.
Not joking.
There's always that one kid that catches on before the others do. Like all the kids are still joking, and then there's the one that's like, you guys, he's being serious, I think.
Tighten up.
Come on, man. Next story here. If you were wondering what it would be like if Pitbull purchased your stadium, you don't have to wonder anymore. Pitbull's purchased the naming rights to Florida International's football stadium. He'll pay the school $1.2 million per year for 5 years and will create an anthem for FIU, post about the school on social media 12 times a year, and appear at one athletic fundraising event per year throughout the term of his agreement. Bump. Because I don't attend Florida International, I think this is hilarious and amazing.
It's hilarious, amazing, and such a big flex. You know, like Pitbull is from the area, came from nothing. Now he's going to have his name on the stadium. He's going to create an anthem. And the fact that he has 1.2 that he can just throw away every year over 5 years, good for him, man. That is a major flex. I got my jersey retired at my high school and thought that was dope. Nah. I got to get my name on a stadium somewhere.
You got to go back, and it's the Michael Bumpus Stadium. Now, would you also, Pitbull, as a musical recording artist, has also agreed to make the anthem. Would you also make the anthem for Culver City High School?
I would participate, but we have people who are way more qualified than me to get that anthem going for sure.
You never know. I think it could be great. Next up, this year, the Olympics recorded the athletes pronouncing their own names for the official website, and there were some interesting results.
Okay. Rafael Nadal.
Ready? Allison Gibson. Allison Gibson.
Danielle Collins. Danielle Collins.
Full name? Do I look there? Or John Tolkien? John Tolkien?
Okay.
Have the right pronunciation.
Okay. Oh, just do it. Okay. Carissa Moore. Carissa Moore.
Perfect.
Oh, you ready? Chloe Lacasse. Again, Chloe Lacasse. Maybe we should read.
Dylan Nai. Dylan Nai.
Amanda Longan. Amanda Longan.
Wow.
Bump, if you were to leave your name for the Olympic name pronunciations and say Michael Bumpus twice with an emphasis on the second, how would you offer pronunciation help for your name?
See, here's the thing, Stacy. I got to do it already because people will spell my name Pispas. So I go Michael Bump Us. Bump Us.
Oh, man.
Yeah, your turn. You ain't getting away with it. Your turn.
Mine would be Stacy Rost. Stacy Rost. With an emphasis on the ST because I get Ross and roast as common. Yeah. I don't know how anyone sees my name and says roast, but 90% of people say it that way.
When I first met you, I had to write down on a piece of paper how to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's just it happens I am shocked that my name is so commonly mispronounced, but I don't know. People see it, they say roast, they can't stop themselves. And so I always say like Rost, like frost, but you take off the F is what I always say. But yeah, it's a tough one. All right, we are going to get back to the Mariners here. Jeff Passen, ESPN insider, was on with Brock and Salk this morning to talk about how the Mariners did at the trade deadline and also predict who wins the AL West. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
I'm excited to talk to Jerry DiPoto today, Mariners president of baseball operations.
As we head into August and September, we've been down this road now for the fourth consecutive year as a contender, but this time we go in first place. I think this team is inspired. This team is relieved that we went out and we found guys that help, that really bring something to both the clubhouse and the energy on the field.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Are you constantly dealing with a runny nose, nasal congestion, or stuffiness? Always having to clear your throat or coughing? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Rhine Air is a simple, non-invasive procedure that can significantly reduce your symptoms. This long-lasting treatment is available here in my office. In a clinical study, 88% of Rhine Air patients experience a significant reduction in their symptoms. We're proud the Stern Sinus Center was recently named a nationwide center of excellence. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
The 2024 Seahawks season is almost here. Get fitted for game days with jerseys, caps, and tees, including the 2024 training camp collection. Visit the Seahawks Pro Shop at the Landing in Renton and Lumen Field or online at Seahawks.com/Pro Shop.
Riverside Roofing LLC.com. Enter your address and receive a hassle-free quick quote on your roof replacement within seconds. Do it this summer and save time, money, and just get your project done. Go to RiversideRoofingLLC.com, the roofing company you can trust.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings. Up to $18,500 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit LexusofBellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS, lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by September 3rd, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Have you recently tried to get a loan to buy a piece of real estate? Are you tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and their endless guidelines? Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jeweler's workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the Bumpin' Stacy podcast. We're available wherever it is you get your pods, Spotify, Apple iTunes, whatever it is. Does Apple still have iTunes? I mean, Apple Podcast. I just dated myself. As well as seattlesports.com and the Seattle Sports app. Oh, no.
I think they do have it.
Right? I'm going to say they do. I think it's now.
Messed up?
What?
I think I use it still.
I know it's like Apple Music is an app. It's just all apps now. Like, I don't think young people know. Noah's on our board. How old are you?
I'm 23.
Oh, that's disgusting. Do you know what
Sorry,
do you know what the iTunes store is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Do you know what Radio Shack is?
Yes.
Do you know what a CD is?
Yes, I do.
Do you know what a Walkman is?
Yes.
Well, it can't fool you. Okay. Yeah. Jeff Passen. Do you know who Jeff Passen is?
I love Jeff Passen.
Great. Fantastic. I've got some sound for you then, and you, Bump. Jeff Passen was on with Brock and Salk this morning talking about how the Mariners did at the deadline. Here's what he said.
I think they did really well at the deadline. And I think if the supply of available players were a little bit better and the prices weren't quite where they were, they probably would have been even more active. But I think under the circumstances and considering the market, they did really well. And they've been playing good baseball. And you guys watch every inning of every game, so you have the ability to answer this question better than I do. But they've looked like a better team, right?
They have certainly felt like one bump since the trade deadline.
Yeah, they look a lot better. Even in the games that they haven't won, -1 where they just got blown out, they look like a team that has the potential to stay in every single game. When you add the approach in the batter's box to what the pitchers are doing on the mound, it looks like you have a chance. And I think with this squad, that's really all you want. You just want a chance to go out there and compete and have 2 runs be scored and think to yourself, okay, we're still in it. They came back from a 5-0 lead, 6 unanswered runs scored. That is the perfect example of what this team is. So, yes, they've gotten better. Curtis said it on our show on Friday, I believe, when I was out, Friday or Thursday. He said, out of all the bats that were moved, the Mariners got the biggest one. And I couldn't agree more with him because that's exactly what happened. If we would have saw Vladimir Guerrero get moved, if we saw Cody Bellinger get moved, Alfonso get moved, like those names, I think we would still be okay with Arozarena, but we wouldn't be as happy with Arozarena as I think you and I are right now.
Exactly. And Jeff kind of slips it in there, but he's like, there were moves to be made, but there was also a smart decision not to make some of those moves because the way that the trade market kind of looked at the time was if you're going to deal for one of those bats, which the Mariners had the prospect capital to do, it would cost a lot more than it would typically. And so you could also make the case for why you wouldn't, right? So I was pleased with the trade deadline. Would have loved to see 3 bats added. It just wasn't available. Jeff Passen saying if he had to give the Mariners a gold, silver, or bronze, here's what he'd do.
I'd say they're probably a silver. And that I don't mean by that they are the second best, because I think there were other teams that had a better deadline. But they're just in that range of good, not great, but pretty good, and something that you should be proud of. And I think that where they are right now is in position to win the American League West. And it would have been really nice to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It would have been really nice to get Pete Alonso, or it would have been really nice to get Luis Robert. But sometimes the market and the way that it works, man, it just makes it not unrealistic or not unfeasible, just not intelligent to do.
Now, keep in mind, the teams getting gold, someone like the Padres, also gave up a ton of prospects. So Jeff's grading system here, I'm very okay with the silver bump.
Yeah, I'm okay with the silver. I mean, when's the last time you felt like the Mariners did anything that warranted a silver medal?
Exactly. Luis Castillo, maybe? Like a trade deadline type move?
That's about it. So they exceeded my expectations, honestly. I had high hopes. I had a wish list. I had things that I wanted to see happen. None of them happened. But what did happen was you got a really good bat in Arozarena. You got a decent bat with leadership in Turner. You're helping out your bullpen. The bullpen needs to pick it up, by the way. They've been struggling as of lately. You made your team better.
Mm-hmm.
He said there were teams who had better trade deadlines. I wish there was a follow-up and someone would have asked him what teams, just so I could look at it and kind of compare. But the fact that you're in the mix, silver medal all day.
So I think that I wonder if he would have said the Padres. So he did, as a separate part of this conversation, talk about really loving what A.J. Preller did. And it's a little selfish, but I totally understand. It's like how I would love drama, either a team be god-awful or a team be great, because it's just more interesting to cover. Mm-hmm. His take was like that he feels Preller is so aggressive at the deadline that it's just more interesting to cover, and he'd like to see more GMs really go for it. So that's a subjective kind of gold medal. I don't know if everyone would do that. As for who wins the AL West, here's what Passen says.
Seattle Mariners on the strength of their starting pitching with just enough offense when Julio Rodriguez comes back and goes on a September heater that finally allows me to write the story that I've been talking about all season.
No, maybe again that one's self-serving because it's just easier for him if the Mariners win the West. But Bump, you and I would certainly love it.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Love to see it. Hang a banner, do all that good stuff, celebrate it, and then look forward to next year. It's hard when you are a Mariners fan because you realize that if you do win this division, it's not going to be easy and it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at no point do I think they're going to jump up to another 10-game lead over the Astros, even though the Astros did just suffer another injury to their rotation or their pitching staff. So, I think it is very possible, and they're playing good baseball without Julio. That's the next step. What does this team do when Julio is there, and how long does it take him to get adjusted and acclimated to who the team is now? Because this is a different team. He's still in the dugout. He's hanging out with these dudes, but he's not out there on the diamond, so this is a different team.
I so wish that I could snap my fingers and see what Julio looks like next to Randy Arozarena in this lineup.
For real.
Man.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
One, big ups to the U.S. women's soccer team that disqualified to play in the gold medal game. Two, while I was watching that during the break, there's a Housewives of Dubai I just saw. Are you going to watch that? Housewives of Dubai.
Great question. Thank you so much for asking. I will be. So Housewives of Dubai is currently lower on the Housewives listing that I watch. Right now it's led by Salt Lake City and Beverly Hills are really solid. OC is pretty low, though I'm tuning in. I would say Dubai is between those two. So I will be watching, and thank you for letting me know. You're really carrying us right now. All right, we are going to be joined by Seahawks offensive tackle Charles Cross coming up next, and then we're going to run to Hype Train, figure out the top trends going on right now. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Leslie Frazier, what is going to be his role? What kind of impact can he make with this team?
And he's going to be a mentor to Mike McDonald. And when you've got, a younger staff, some doing it for the first time at the NFL level, Salk, and I think a tremendous resource in Leslie Frazier, not just to the players, but to some of those younger coaches to say, hey, man, I've been here. I've done this a little bit. I've seen it at the highest level. I've seen how this works. And that messaging from him, the gray hair on the staff, going to be incredibly important.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
We meet by accident, fixing every last dent. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last dent. Accurate Auto Body.
The big one is underway now for all you contractors, builders, and heavy equipment operators. A 3-day huge auction event presented by Murphy Auction Company and featuring literally tons of heavy equipment, heavy trucks, cars, vans, SUVs, and a massive assortment of contractor tools like a 2019 John Deere 650K LGP dozer, a 2018 John Deere 210G LC excavator, a 2015 Leeboy paver, 21 diesel-powered excavators from John Deere, Bobcat, Hitachi, and Cat. And that's just for openers. We got 13 backhoes up for grabs, 5 telescopic forklifts, 4 rollers, 12 telescopic boom lifts, and 6 skid steer loaders. Oh, one more thing. Over 100 heavy trucks to choose from. You can set your eyes on all this gear at our public preview, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., now through Wednesday the 7th at our Marysville location, corner of 136th and State Street. For photos and all details, check murphyauction.com.
I started Davis Law Group 30 years ago with the goal of bringing the highest quality of legal representation to accident victims. Seattle has changed a lot in that time, and the needs of drivers and accident victims have grown. I'm happy to say that we have too. We've expanded our team to take on the biggest challenges for accident victims across the state. Contact Washington's best personal injury team today at 206-888-8888 or visit us online at davislawgroupseattle.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey there. Gerber Life would like to talk to you about the importance of guaranteed life insurance for when you...
No, thank you.
I get it. Nobody likes to think about life insurance because it means having to think about the end of... So I'll make this short and sweet. If you're 50 plus or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. Guaranteed acceptance means you don't need a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just call 888-532-5016. Then, when that thing you don't want to think about does eventually happen, and you know it will,
I'm not listening.
Your family can use the insurance money to help cover the cost of your final expenses, or anything else. Now that's worth thinking about. Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance. For a free quote, call 888-532-5016 today.
If your home has slow-draining sinks, bathtubs, or showers, that's a danger sign. You might have a blockage building up downstream. Don't fear. Call Deere Services. Visit DeereServices.net. Make an appointment, and we'll arrive at your home within 3 hours or give you a $100 credit. And get this, no service fee. Our experienced technicians will eliminate any blockages, making sure your plumbing system flows as good as new. But don't wait before it's too late. Visit DearServices.net today. Deere Services. There when you need us most.
Let's go! This This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Per ESPN, the 49ers are now willing to listen to trade offers for wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. The New England Patriots and Cleveland Browns have both been interested. ESPN's Mike Reese reports the Pats have been pursuing a trade of Aiyuk for a few months now, which would give their number 3 overall pick, Drake May, an exciting new weapon. Meanwhile, the Browns just need a stellar receiver. They have a clear number 1 in Amari Cooper, but plenty of question marks after that on their depth chart. While the 49ers have reportedly engaged in these trade talks, they're also willing to keep Aiyuk on the roster this year, even without a new deal.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. All right, joining us now in the Cortez Kennedy studio, Seahawks offensive tackle Charles Cross. And Charles, we are so happy to have you with us. How's camp going so far?
Camp's going good. Get some good work in, day in and day out, just taking it day by day.
Man, you got to be to that point now. Body's banged up just a little bit, a little tired. What's the recovery like? What's this, practice 10, 11, 12, something like that?
I think it's 11, 12.
11, 12?
Just hitting the tubs, normal techs, massage. It's pretty much been my routine.
Yep.
Did you spend most of the offseason in Seattle? Were you able to go back home?
Yeah, I was able to go back home. Actually, before I came back to Seattle, I went home.
You get to see a new defense every day. Now, defenses are defenses, right? You guys have your communication. You sort stuff out. How has this defense given you different challenges?
The way Coach Mike calls his defense, they always they're very physical. They bring different looks. They do different things, and they disguise their blitzes very well. So it's definitely been a good challenge. Just for the offense, coming in and day out, attacking the defense.
Would you describe yourself as a really physical tackle?
Of course, absolutely. Playing a position offensive line, you definitely have to be physical at the point of attack.
Man, you're year 3. You're going to year 3. You a vet now, man.
Yeah, I am.
You got some young guys behind you. What's that like? Has anything changed as far as your role with this team, or what's it like being a vet now?
It's definitely it's a little different for me. Actually knowing I'm a vet now and having the young guys come in and them just learn from me and watching me, and just trying to be a good leader, a good example, and do things the right way for real.
It's so funny hearing you and Bump talk about you being one of the vets, because in my mind, I'm like, you were just drafted. You're still so young. And here you are looking around at guys that are, 2 years younger going, all right, listen to me. I know what I'm doing here. But do you feel like there's so much that you've absorbed over your first couple years?
Yeah, definitely. Of course. Just like from my rookie year to my sophomore year, just really just trying to pick up as much knowledge as I can, listening to the vets that was helping me along the way, and just adding to my game from what I learned from them. So it's been a good experience and a good learning process.
Man, you get to do something you ain't done this year, a joint practice going to Tennessee. And I don't know if I know, but you see on ESPN these teams practicing together. It gets a little hostile, and it normally starts with y'all bigs in the trenches, man. What are your expectations going to Tennessee?
Honestly, just be ready for whatever. It might get a little chippy, but it's part of the game. So just taking it for what it is, protect the team for sure. Just make sure everything goes smooth. Yep.
Are you? This feels like such a silly question, but at one point in the season, do you kind of start to say, "Oh my God, let's just get going"? Like you're itching to get back to play during the regular season.
I say probably like the second preseason game.
Yeah.
You're not really playing a lot in the preseason. You probably get a couple drives or a quarter here and there, but yeah, probably like the second preseason game. I'm just ready to go out there and play.
I'm done with this. Let's go.
Well, you got a new O-line coach in Huff. I'm sure coaches have different ways of communicating, right? You're from your high school O-line coach to college to last year to Huff. How's that communication been like with Huff?
I feel like the communication has been going well. We started off OTAs just building that trust and him learning his players and know how to communicate to his players. So I feel like it's been going in the right direction, and just continuing to keep building that trust and building that communication and camaraderie.
We saw one of your teammates, Olu Oluwatimi, got married. He posted a couple things from that. Did you anything big for you over the off season, unrelated to football?
Well, I didn't get married, but I actually before I came back to camp, I went home and I started a scholarship fund for my high school.
Aww.
And I did it like with all the teachers, like their back to school meeting. And the mayor was there, and they surprised me with the key to the city. So that was like a highlight for me this off season. Just going back home and doing that and being surprised with it. So it was a big moment for me.
That's always cool going back home, man, and doing stuff like that. Is your high school coach still at the high school you played there, or has he moved on?
So my head coach, he coaches at another school, but my offensive line coach and a couple other coaches are still there.
That's cool. That's cool.
What was behind kind of wanting to start that scholarship? Because that's very cool.
Well, my mom always was a big inspiration to me, and she always influenced me and tells me I should give back to the community, help people. So I feel like they really inspired me to do
that. Running backs and linemen are together, right? When it comes to pass pro, run game. When you look behind you, whether it's Ken Walker, Charbonnet, McIntosh, what are your vibes with the running backs back there?
Man, they're a great group of guys, man. They great people off the field, on the field. Man, they get everything they have, man. I have nothing but respect for that group of guys.
We always hear Ray Roberts, who's a former NFL offensive lineman, talk about how much he enjoys run blocking or just getting the run game going. Do you have a preference in terms of like, oh man, it's so satisfying when there's some 60-yard bomb and I knew I had a key block, or do you like really love getting the run game going?
Yeah, I do love getting the run game going, especially for me. I like to get my pad set the first play of the game, so definitely love a run call the first play.
Your rookie year, we spoke to you, and we're asking, what do you like to eat? What do you like to do? So going into your third year, you got like your spots out here, spots you like to go eat. Like, what's your go-to?
My go-to, I be mixing up from time to time. I like a little sushi here and there. I like a little hibachi, little steak. Yep. So I'll be going from place to place.
Mixing it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you miss most food-wise from back home?
I had to say the soul food, like the fried chicken, the greens, candy yams, mac and cheese. Like, it's hard to get that out here, but
it's different.
Yeah, it hit different when I go home.
Oh man, so you are considered one of the leaders in this on this offensive line group. When you're in the meeting rooms, are you a vocal type of leader? Are you an example type of leader? What's it like when you're in the room studying and prepping? I
feel like I'm the kind of person who leads by example. Whether it be how I come to the meeting, how I'm prepared for the meeting, whether I'm on the field, we're doing individual, just doing things the right way.
Do you guys do any, I know that sometimes they do like offensive line dinners or whatever. Have you guys been able to do that, and have you gotten to a point where just the rookies pay?
Not yet. We definitely planning on doing offensive line dinners, and definitely gonna get the rookies to pay at least one time.
At least once, right? And you got to like pick a hibachi grill for that one or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there is what's the highest drafted rookie y'all got? I think it was Christian Haynes, I believe it was. And,
yeah.
Yep, in the O-line room.
He didn't get that first, second round money, so y'all be nice to
him. We're gonna take care of him for sure.
Take it easy.
Y'all be nice to him. You've been watching the Olympics?
Not as much as I wanted to, but I have here and there.
The men's basketball team plays at 12:30, so right before y'all practice out. I'll make sure I'll let you know how it goes down.
For sure.
You a big hoops fan, Charles?
Yeah, I have been more like, especially like once the season's over with. Just watching basketball, especially like when the playoffs get started. I feel like that's the best basketball right there, honestly.
Have you picking up the golf clubs yet? I feel like every NFL player at some point got at least try it one time. You touch them yet?
So I have. I actually this offseason I took on some golf lessons.
Okay.
and I feel like it's not for me, right? I'm getting ready for my swing, and it's kind of hard for me to bring the club over my shoulders.
Yeah.
Maybe after football.
Yep.
Maybe after football, I'll try to find another hobby.
Yep, for sure.
Bump, were
if Big Ray can do it, I believe you. Big Ray, 6'6".
Yeah.
Big boy. It's a tough game.
It is. It looks easy, but it's definitely hard.
I was going to say, I feel like every single current or former athlete that we talk to always loves to golf. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that you can still do the sport, or like it challenges a different part of you. Bump, did you, when you first picked it up, did you really love it, or did it take you a minute?
It took me a little bit because I was the same way. My flexibility was all off and stuff, but once you got it, it's just something you can do forever.
Yeah.
I ain't playing pickup basketball no more. My knees.
Yeah, you just hit a different. And then Charles, then you get to do like charity golf events, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, it's just you could have Bump help you with the swing a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
There we go.
You could take him up on it.
Favorite run play? They pull you on the counter? They got GT counter? Or?
My favorite run play is duo.
Duo?
Yeah, duo.
Get you downhill right now.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
I was gonna say, why is duo your favorite run play?
You get a lot of double teams, and it's like a downhill run.
All right. Last one for me here, Charles, is just kind of maybe a goal that you have for yourself this year. We've been talking a lot about the offense and what we expect, but sometimes it's helpful to hear just for you personally, like how you're kind of feeling about that group and yourself, and what your expectation is.
I'm very confident in myself and in the group of guys we have in the room. I feel like there's no limit on how far we can go, how good we can be. I feel like there's no reason why we can't be the best group in the league.
So.
All right. He is Seahawks tackle Charles Cross, kind enough to join us just ahead of practice here. Charles, it's been fun to talk to you, man, and congratulations on starting that scholarship. That's so cool. Great advice from Mom there. We'll let you go, but thank you again for joining us.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Charles.
All right, our training camp coverage presented by The Landing in Renton. We are going to take a look around the NFL coming up in about 16 minutes. Before we get to it, we are going to head to the station for Hype Train. Noah, you want to play with us? All right, here we go. All right, first one here. Mitch Haniger hitting over 260 in his last 7, and I know that doesn't sound like some astronomical number, but for him, that is him getting hot, Bump. He has been hitting 190 over the last 30. Obviously hasn't been the best first half. Mitch Haniger stays hot. You Borden?
This is a tricky one, man, because I don't like putting negativity on nobody, so I got to roll with it. Mitch is going to keep doing what he does. He's going to tap into that guy we saw a couple years ago. I'm on the train, Mitch. Get her done.
All right. No, I'm pulling you in for this one. Mitch Haniger stays hot. You boarding this train?
I'll say I'm going to board the train. I like what he said, having Justin Turner as like a good mentor for him, studying his swing and stuff. And I have a Mitch Haniger jersey, so.
Got to be able to wear it a ton and feel happy with it.
For sure.
I'm going to go ahead and board this one, and I think hotness is relative when it comes to Mitch Haniger. I think that hitting above 250 is Mitch Haniger staying hot. Like, he doesn't need to go out there and, hit, a ton of bombs and, get a ton of RBI and really get this thing going. Like, if you're getting a hit per game, a hit every other, get a couple multi-hit games in there. Bump, you had that stat about him not having a multi-hit game in July. Like, can you get a couple in August? That, to me, is going to be Mitch Haniger getting and staying hot. Next up. I'm excited for this one to hear your answer, Bump. Justin Fields took over first-team reps for the Steelers after Russell Wilson suffered some calf tightness and was forced to miss a couple days of practice. Now, Russell Wilson is back, but it's suddenly a very fascinating quarterback conversation happening with Pittsburgh. Justin Fields is your Week 1 starter.
Man, he's had more opportunities to impress and to make the coordinator over there imagine a world where he is that guy. What happens is you see what he can do, and then you add a little wrinkle there, you add a little wrinkle there. Can Russell Wilson handle those wrinkles? And if those wrinkles involve him being extremely involved in the run game, I don't think so. But I think the more you can do in that backfield, the better. So because of that, the time is all jacked up. Man, Justin Fields will be the starter Week 1. I'm on it.
Ooh, it's a bold one. Noah, are you boarding this train?
I don't think so. I think Russell Wilson, I think they'll be more comfortable starting the veteran. Justin Fields, he has looked good, but I just don't think they'll risk it right away.
I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. I'm going to say they play it safe. Now, what I want to actually see, while I kind of like root for Russell Wilson to figure it out, I think just Justin Fields tapping into something with another team would be interesting. We saw Russell Wilson succeed with Seattle, and then we saw him struggle in Denver, and this is his third shot. Justin Fields is one of those guys where you go, God, you were with such a dysfunctional organization. Like, what if there's some crazy untapped potential that Chicago just was not able to get and pull out of you that Mike Tomlin and the Steelers can? I would just be fascinated to know if that's the case. Whereas with Russell Wilson, I think we kind of know who he is now. He's never going to be what he was at his best in Seattle. I also think he's a little better than his worst in Denver. But maybe Justin Fields has upside that Russell just doesn't anymore. So I'm not boarding, though I do eventually want to see Justin Fields start a couple games. Next up. We heard rumors that the Patriots and Browns were interested in trading for Brandon Aiyuk, and not only that, but that the 49ers, who previously were rumored to want to hang on to Brandon, are now open to dealing him. So your hype train is simple. It's going to be one of these teams. The Patriots acquire Brandon Aiyuk.
Here's the thing. I know the Brandon Aiyuk wants to get paid and he wants to be the man. In San Francisco, he already is the man, right? What are the advantages of going to New England? You get to develop with a young quarterback. You're going to get a whole bunch of targets. It's all about what the Patriots are willing to give up because both sides have to agree to the contract. Aiyuk has to sign up on it and say it's okay, and then the Niners have to sign off on it and say that it's okay. This is the most expensive Aiyuk is going to be because he's not hitting the free agent market. He can literally determine what he wants out of this deal. I think he's going to ask for something astronomical, and I think that the Niners aren't going to want to part with Brandon Aiyuk. I think this is all a song and dance. He stays in San Francisco. I think that was the hype train, right?
Yes. Okay, so the Patriots acquire Brandon Aiyuk. Bump is not boarding. He thinks he stays in San Francisco. Noah, are you boarding this train?
I am not boarding. I agree with Bump. I can't see Brandon Aiyuk going anywhere else, especially with the Patriots. Their situation, it's kind of weird right now. I think they should just keep rebuilding, and I don't know if giving up a lot for Brandon Aiyuk would be worth it for them.
Yeah, the Patriots were rumored to be willing to deal Bourne in that deal, but that doesn't give you the upside as a wide receiver option that Aiyuk does. I think that the difference when you're Brandon Aiyuk, and Bump, we've talked about holdouts for different teams a million times. How many holdouts have been on teams that are favored to get to a Super Bowl, right? Like, that's the big difference. There's a certain point, I would imagine, as a player that you get to where you go, maybe this isn't worth it for me anymore. Like, I want that guaranteed money, and I have this leverage right now, but man, would a ring feel good. And man, is it tempting to get back out there and play and just take advantage of this window. And I think that that's the bit of leverage that San Francisco has on their side, is being able to be like, hey, we can win without you. You want to win? Like, you want to get out here and play and have some games going on? So, yeah, I think he stays in San Francisco. I just think that it's one of those rare instances where the team has leverage as well. So we'll see how long this holdout lasts. Next up. Bump, I was inspired by one of your 4 downs where you talked about something a quarterback should never, ever, absolutely never do, which is get involved in a training camp fight. I'm going to expand it to the regular season. A quarterback should never, ever get involved in a fight, game, practice, training camp, anything. The quarterback should never be involved. Are you boarding?
Man, quarterbacks, you can't touch those dudes. You can't even get too close to them in a regular football game unless you hit them in a 6-inch window where you can take them down. And they're so important to your ball club. If you don't have your number one quarterback out there, the chances of you winning the ball game go down extremely, unless you find a Brock Purdy or you find a Tom Brady, and that is extremely hard to do. So yes, I'm on that hype train. QB should never be involved in any type of altercation. What they can do, they can run their mouth and instigate it, though, and then walk away and let someone else handle it.
That's exactly what it is. It's just being able to say what you want. It's almost like if the starter was out there in a game and then the bench is clear and the starter just kind of steps back. It's like, but you did this. Yeah, okay. Noah, are you boarding that a quarterback should never, ever be involved in a fight?
I will also be boarding this train. Like Bump said, face of the franchise, most marketable guy on the team for most teams. Why would you do that?
Now, there's part of me that thinks they should, And Bump, I know you're going to disagree, but I think back to when the Mariners and Angels were involved in that scuffle and Jesse Winker was in the center of it, and Mike Trout got a little bit of heat from people, Mariners fans, not Angels fans, because he was just not involving himself. And I think there's this feeling some people have of like, oh, it makes you one of the guys if you're willing to get in there and, get down and dirty and throw hands. I just think like you got to kind of remove yourself as a quarterback's like a weird middle management position. You're a player, but you got to kind of be above it and you're removed from certain things. It comes with the territory of getting all the credit when things go well and the blame when things go poorly. Is you kind of have to separate yourself. Next up. Remember when Jamar Chase broke onto the scene as a rookie for the Bengals, and there were all kinds of questions about whether he had bad hands in camp, and it was really weird. And then congratulations to everyone who drafted him on their fantasy team because he had a breakout rookie season. Now, there have been many players since to have breakout rookie seasons, and maybe this year it's Marvin Harrison Jr., but that's not this hype train. Instead, it's Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors making a ton of noise at Giants camp. Apparently caught all but one pass from Daniel Jones on 11-on-11 and 7s-on-7s and is just looking absolutely amazing. It is Malik Neighbors who will be this year's version of fantasy breakout star Jamar Chase. Are you boarding?
Breakout. So are we just ignoring Marvin Harrison?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. I mean, it's not bad because he was the third receiver taken, but the receiver is connected to his quarterback. And something tells me Danny Dimes ain't going to be dropping as many dimes as Marvin Harrison's quarterback and Rome Odunze's quarterback. So, no, I am not on that hype train. I'm going to leave that alone, man. Neighbors is going to be fine, though. He'll be fine. I just don't think he'll do that.
All right, Malik Neighbors will be this year's version of fantasy breakout star Jamar Chase. It also implies that he will be the most successful of the rookie wide receivers in year one. Bump says, no, I can't. I'm looking at Rome Odunze. I'm looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm looking at guys who are going to be with better quarterbacks, and I cannot give the nod to the guy playing with Danny Dimes. Are you boarding this train, Noah?
I am not. Bump basically took everything I was going to say.
How dare he?
Yeah, so rude. Daniel Jones, he's not Joe Burrow. There's too many other good rookie receivers with better quarterbacks. I just can't see it happening.
Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors is doing great things with the Giants, and that's fantastic. But training camp is like hands camp. Like, absolutely everyone is going to look amazing because Daniel Jones can't get sacked right now. He can't get tackled right now. And so, of course, Daniel Jones is completing all of his passes and looking really solid. We're going to see what it looks like when he's actually under pressure. And so far, Kyler Murray has more experience there. He's got Marvin Harrison Jr. Caleb Williams doesn't have more experience there, but is a better quarterback maybe than Daniel Jones. So I'm with you guys. I'm not boarding this train. I'm really excited to see these wide receivers. This is one of the most exciting wide receiver classes we've seen, and I know Bump is going to be all over coverage of that this year, I'm sure. You've tracked all these guys, you've watched their college careers, and now we get to see them in the pros. I just don't know that Malik Neighbors is going to be topping that list. All right, last one here. We'll be quick. And Bump, I'll just go with your answer for this one. We just spoke with Charles Cross about the offensive line, and while it was really encouraging to hear from Charles and all of his faith in this offense right now, offensive line remains the Seahawks' biggest question mark.
Oh, man, that's a tough one because I can throw in the LBs because Baker's been banged up as well. He's in and out. Dotson hasn't played much, but I think there's enough in front and behind those linebackers to where they're going to be just fine if they perform the way I think they are. So, yeah, I'm going to hop on that train. I think it's the offensive line. Who's going to be your center? Who are going to be your guards? We know what the tackle's going to be, but other than that, it's a wide open competition.
You are listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know coming your way in about 20 minutes. 866-979-3776. Get those in now.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Final tally on the Mariners trades. In Randy Arozarena, Jimmy Garcia, Justin Turner, JT Chargois.
Weekdays 2 to 6.
Out, Ryan Stanek, Jonathan Clase, 6 minor leaguers, Ty France.
I was afraid that the Mariners were going to overpay. I think that's the good part.
None of the big bats were moved. It's not just that the Mariners didn't get Vlad Guerrero Jr. You could argue they picked up the biggest bat that was moved in Randy Arozarena.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If your home has air conditioning, congratulations, because it looks like this summer is going to be a scorcher. But to make sure your AC system is working at its best, Deere Services is offering an inspection and tune-up with a no-breakdown guarantee and no service fee for just $49, a $129 value. Assure yourself of a comfortable, cool summer. Visit DEARservices.net, make an appointment, and we'll be there within 3 hours or give you a $100 credit. Deere Services, there when you need us most.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers who chunk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
The 2024 Seahawks season is almost here. Get fitted for game days with jerseys, caps, and tees, including the 2024 training camp collection. Visit the Seahawks Pro Shop at the Landing in Renton and Lumen Field, or online at Seahawks.com/Pro Shop.
I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases. I've found that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client, and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
RiversideRoofingLLC.com. Enter your address and receive a hassle-free quick quote on your roof replacement within seconds. Do it this summer and save time, money, and just get your project done. Go to RiversideRoofingLLC.com, the roofing company you can trust.
Hey, it's me, your liver. You know, the organ that helps you recover every weekend after pizza, donuts, and all those drinks. When you have a headache, you take an aspirin. You have a stomach ache, you pop an antacid. But where's the love for your best buddy, the liver? The least that you could do to help me stay healthy is take Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver tablets contain high-quality, all-natural ingredients like milk thistle, globe artichoke, and turmeric extracts, which are proven to keep me healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver provides an easy daily detox and helps protect me all year long. So let me make you an offer you can't refuse. You take care of me with Active Liver, and I keep taking care of you. Capiche?
See for yourself why Active Liver is Scandinavia's #1 liver health supplement. You can find Active Liver at CVS and online at Amazon, Target.com, or directly from NewNordicUSA.com. Again, find it in stores at CVS or online at Amazon, Target.com, or NewNordicUSA.com.
My Seahawks jersey is more than just a piece of clothing.
It's a symbol of the unique spirit of my city.
Creating a sense of community and belonging.
A bond uniting us and a love for the game. This is my jersey.
This is my jersey.
This is my jersey.
This is the Pro Shop. You can find your new favorite jersey at the Seahawks Pro Shop. Shop online at Seahawks.com or visit us at the Landing in Renton or Lumen Field.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
2 things you're looking at when you're shopping for a new car or SUV. Choice and exceptional deals. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett and you'll be satisfied with both. Which Mazda moves you? Find out at Mazda of Everett. Choose from over 600 new Mazdas in stock, and right now, they're offering 0% financing on all new Mazda CX-5s, CX-30s, CX-50s, and CX-90s on approved credit. Need more reasons? They also treat you like family and want you to drive away happy. See for yourself at MazdaofEverett.com.
Bring your whole crew to the game with the Mariners Suite at T-Mobile Park. Whether you're planning a special birthday party for friends and family or a company outing for up to 400 coworkers, there's no better spot for an unforgettable experience. Enjoy the suite life with premium catering, VIP parking, private Skybridge entry, and more. Plus, season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve your suite today at mariners.com/suites.
And the pitch up the middle, JP! Wow! What a play! Game over!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
To play him or not to play him? That is the question that every head coach faces when it comes to their quarterback in preseason games. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur told reporters that starter Jordan Love will start at quarterback this Saturday in preseason game number 1 for the Packers. LaFleur said, "I think there's a lot of value in getting your mind right to play a football game." Now, keep in mind, Love signed a 4-year, $220 million contract extension less than 2 weeks ago, which is the biggest difference between him starting preseason week 1 this year and playing in all 3 preseason games last year. Another thing to keep in mind is that Love missed the first 4 practices of training camp while the details of this contract were negotiated. Now, Bump, under Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers never played in a preseason game, though he was many, many, many years into his career by then. If you were Matt LaFleur, would you start Jordan Love in week 1 in preseason week 1 like he's doing, or would you hold him out after this big deal?
Oh man, if I was in camp, I can have a accurate answer for that question. But it's tough because look, Eberflus isn't letting Caleb play. Bryce Young isn't playing over there with the Panthers, but Jordan Love is playing. Doesn't that feel like reversed? It feels like Caleb and Bryce should play.
I know.
So it's all on the coach and their perspective. I think when you factor in that he did miss a few practices, maybe that's the deal. With Jordan Love, just paid him a whole bunch of money. Nah, he's got to sit.
Related to what you just mentioned, Bryce Young not going to play the opener. According to David Newton of ESPN, they could keep him out for the entire preseason. Again, I think it's about the confidence you have as a coach too. I think it's more common than not at this point with where games are that starters just never play. I feel like we first started seeing that when Sean McVay Bump was holding his starters out, and then we started seeing more and more teams be like, you know what, we're actually not going to play these guys. Pete Carroll was one of the last guys to do that. We still saw starters appear in a few games, Russell Wilson and co. Up until late in Pete Carroll's tenure here. I'm never mad at the idea to hold a guy out and just play it safe when these games don't matter. I think it just makes week 1, I would imagine it makes weeks 1, 2, 3 pretty rocky.
Yeah, I wish I knew how many joint practices the Green Bay Packers had, because I think that factors into it as well.
Do you think a joint practice is as close to a preseason game as is it closer than we think to a preseason game?
Yeah, it is, because everyone else is live at some point. They'll go maybe 10, 15 plays live and then shut it down, but you get to see what guys do when the lights are on. So protect your biggest asset. LaFleur's like, forget that. Let's go get it.
We talked about this in 4-down territory, but getting back to it, Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo announced that he's planning on playing all 4 of his quarterbacks in their first preseason game against the Panthers. That includes Jacoby Brissett, first-round pick Drake May, 6th-round pick Joe Milton, who's going to be curious, and Bailey Zappi.
So I'm assuming that they're all going to get a quarter, or at least the first 3 will get a quarter, and then a quarter and some, and the 4th guy will get whatever's left. This method confuses me because there's 2 guys battling for the job. Let those 2 guys get after it if you're going to let them play. The 3rd and 4th guys should really come in during the 3rd preseason game when you know who can do what at that point. Interesting approach to that thing, but I'm glad we'll see at least a potential starter. All
right, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. I know all eyes here in Seattle are on Geno Smith and what he's doing. You know who else has had a stellar camp? Jalen Hurts. According to Tim McManus, who covers the Eagles for ESPN, he has not thrown a single interception through 9 training camp practices. And he also has a new offensive coordinator there with Kellen Moore. They've got a new system they're rolling out. I'm curious as to what you think, not just about the marriage between Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts, but about whether Jalen Hurts is sometimes overlooked. I mean, Bump, just the other day we talked about Dan Orlovsky ranking his top 5 quarterbacks, a couple other ESPN lists, and Jalen frequently excluded from some of these.
Yeah, I think people look at Jalen and say, all right, well, he's a product of the run game, being able to throw deep, but being used in the run game as a quarterback. You look at his numbers last year when it came to throwing under pressure, he's one of the worst in the NFL. It works for him, though. I think you got to look at Jalen Hurts the same way you look at like a Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
You're in the right system, and it works for you. Them losing, 5 out of 6 of their games last year didn't help, but I think a lot of that had to do with what was happening internally. He does need to get better at throwing the football when it comes to pressure, but there's no denying that when he's in the right system, he's an MVP candidate. He was at one point.
All right, next up, Minnesota Vikings receiver Jordan Addison has been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol and driving with a .08 blood alcohol content, which is the legal limit. This is from an incident on July 12th where a West Los Angeles police officer found him asleep at the wheel of his Rolls Royce that was blocking a lane of I-105. Do you call it the 105 in LA? Westbound near Los Angeles Airport. He's going to have a hearing on October 8th, obviously during the regular season.
No, the highways is 105.
105, okay.
Interstates is the.
Got it. So is it the 5?
The 5, the 405, the 10.
Okay, and then we say 105.
And then 105,
okay.
Yeah. This is unfortunate, man. He had a teammate who just passed away because of a drunk driver.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about these young cats. I understand you have a new car, you're back home. Like, you want to flex on these dudes and these girls, but it's just not worth it, man. Call a driver. It's unfortunate. Discipline him, and hopefully he learns from this so it doesn't happen again.
All right, next up, we are headed to fights. Fights are the theme of this week in training camp. We've had a couple breakout. Malik Neighbors has been involved in one. We know Daniel Jones has been involved in one. Daniel Jones said of the fight that he had between Detroit Lions players, a situation like that happens. You try to stand up for your guys. I feel, we heard about the other day, Bump, who was it they got in a fight the other day? Was it Ken Walker and Reek Woolen?
I think so, yeah.
It's just, it feels like fights are never, they always make headlines. They always dominate a news cycle because it's just that time of the year where you're desperate for any story. But I am also never concerned by one.
No, I'm not. It's, when fights happen at training camp, especially when it's amongst like the same team, it's just like brothers and sisters getting at it. You're around each other so much. At some point, you guys are going to argue, maybe even get in a fight. But it's when it's done, it's done. And a lot of the times the fights break out because of the tempo of the practice. There's something called like thud tempo. It means I'm going to hit you, but I'm not going to take you down.
Yeah.
At some point, someone is a little bit too aggressive, and the other side doesn't like it. So typically, that's where it starts, and it boils over.
All right. Well, it sounds like the Falcons don't have too much to worry about from what was initially a concerning story. Bijan Robinson left practice yesterday and went to the workout room to do some separate circuits. The Falcons didn't comment, though it doesn't appear Robinson's dealing with any kind of injury. Meanwhile, Bijan Robinson talked about taking the field with Kirk Cousins and how excited he was. So just a brief moment in practice yesterday where Falcons reporters were wondering whether Bijan Robinson was injured, but maybe he's just getting some separate work there. It doesn't sound like it's anything to be concerned about. Bijan Robinson had such a great year quietly, which is weird because, Bump, he was a top 10 pick, right? And someone we all were really excited to see where he'd land. And then I think because the Falcons just weren't great and the offense wasn't great, people overlooked him. He feels like someone who should be in the candidate for Offensive Player of the Year conversations.
Maybe. I mean, he had a good year, a good rookie year. Let me see that again. If you want to be Offensive Player of the Year at the running back spot, you got to have 1,300 yards, 500 yards of receiving. I just don't know if he's going to be used in that way because there's weapons over there with Atlanta.
Yeah.
Holla at me like week 6.
Man, okay. 1,400 yards from scrimmage for Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean,
how much did Christian McCaffrey had what?
Christian McCaffrey, he's like an MVP kind of candidate.
He was Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
You got to hit those numbers.
That's true. Those quarterbacks are always going to take MVP.
Yep.
All right, get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. We're not ending the show, but at 1 p.m. we're going to start the Dugout. Mariners Assistant General Manager Andy McKay is going to join us. Shannon Drayer, Aaron Goldsmith are going to join us. We're going to take a look around the rest of baseball as well. That begins at 1 p.m., so wrapping up this part of the show with What I Need to Know, coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
And I thought today would be a good day for some rapid-fire Seahawks questions. I know how you love rapid-fire, Brock.
You always do this to me at 7:30. I mean, can we wait till like 9:30 when the juices are flowing? I get acclimated to the show. I get some time to get the horsepower, revved up before you just start making fun of me like right out the gate.
When you got called into a game, did you tell everybody, like, wait a minute, I have to get acclimated?
Maura, did you see my career?
Going since 6 a.m.
Have you seen my career numbers, Maura? Yes.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Intentional in how we treat our customers and how we treat each other.
Working together. Lee Johnson employees understand what it takes to fulfill the purpose of their day.
I'm no more important than a salesperson. Even Randy. Randy is no more important than a salesperson, and Randy makes you know that every single day. You are valuable, that he couldn't do it without you. And I'm not saying we don't get frustrated. You try to remember that we are together. We are a team. Everyone respects everyone else's abilities and talent. And without that thought process, you're sunk. And gosh, why wouldn't you want to work for a company that instills that in you? Right?
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Sure, you can fill up at any gas station, but at any gas station, could you score 2 tickets to a Seahawks game? Sure can't. So head to a 76 or Conoco station and turn your next pit stop into a touchdown. When you buy 8 or more gallons with the Fuel Forward app, you can enter to win 2 Seahawks tickets. Next stop, Lumen Field. See official rules for details. Valid July 29th to December 15th, 2024. Copyright 2024 Phillips 66 Company. All rights reserved.
At State Roofing, you can trust us to get your project done right because we prioritize quality and excellence in everything we do. Take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest today, and don't pay until 2025. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
To celebrate Team USA going for gold, Xfinity is offering a gold medal deal now through August 11th. Get their best offer yet with 300 megabit Xfinity internet and 1 line of unlimited mobile for just $35 a month for a year and a free 5G phone. And the action doesn't stop there. Save on some of the biggest names in streaming by adding the new Xfinity Stream Saver with Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $15 a month. And don't wait, because when the Olympic Games end, so does this deal. So go to Xfinity.com/Team USA, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a store today. Get the fastest connection to Paris, only with Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to internet and mobile. Stream Saver price subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Free 5G phone requires eligible trade-in. Select models only, but make the call and don't wait to 1-800-XFINITY.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
The big one is underway now for all you contractors, builders, and heavy equipment operators. A 3-day huge auction event presented by Murphy Auction Company and featuring literally tons of heavy equipment, heavy trucks, cars, vans, SUVs, and a massive assortment of contractor tools like a 2019 John Deere 650K LGP dozer, a 2018 John Deere 210G LC excavator, a 2015 Leroy paver, 21 diesel-powered excavators from John Deere, Bobcat, Hitachi, and Cat. And that's just for openers. We got 13 backhoes up for grabs, 5 telescopic forklifts, 4 rollers, 12 telescopic boom lifts, and 6 skid steer loaders. Oh, One more thing, over 100 heavy trucks to choose from. You can set your eyes on all this gear at our public preview, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., now through Wednesday the 7th, at our Marysville location, corner of 136th and State Street. For photos and all details, check murphyauction.com.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Looking for fine jewelry this fall? Good news! Seattle's favorite jeweler for more than 40 years now has 2 locations in the area. Come visit us in our beautiful new store with the biggest selection at South Center Square in Tukwila. Create your own engagement ring with the widest range of diamonds and gemstones and discover unique, fine jewelry designed by our in-house team. No matter your budget, our friendly team is here to help guide you in finding that perfect piece that speaks to you. Visit ShaneCo.com to find your closest store and hours. We can't wait to see you. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's time for What I Need to Know, brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jack's text line. Any question, text it now to the Mac and Jack's text line. 866-979-3776. Serious question, says one listener. Who's getting cut at corner? I don't see how the Hawks will cut Arty, so will Mike Jackson get let go, or will it be one of the rookie corners we drafted? It seems like we have 5 starting caliber corners on the team already.
I don't speak on dudes getting fired, man. I don't do that. That's not my job. It's going to be tough for anyone who's not named Reek, Spoon, Trey, and that's about it, man. I think everybody else, you got to go get it. So, yeah, I don't know who's going to be cut, but if any group can be deep and have an opportunity to make the team, it's got to be the DBs because they're good on special teams. Also, big ups, Gabby Thomas just won a gold for the U.S. in 200-meter race.
Nice.
First time in 12 years.
What I need to know, what's an underrated NFL team this season?
Ooh, underrated NFL team this season. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks.
That's a good answer. I mean, we keep hearing about the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Seahawks, but the Cardinals would probably be another popular choice. I think, they had Murray come back late last year and then, started to improve, and they've got questions on defense. But Marvin Harrison Jr., it's crazy how much we talked about him, and then he went to the Cardinals and people were like, okay, well, they're not doing anything. And it's like, well, wait a minute. They got like the best offensive weapon from the draft. What I need to know, excuse me, who has more sacks, Garrett in Cleveland or Watt in Pittsburgh?
Ooh, I'm going with Garrett in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It takes a village, and that was one of the best, if not the best, defenses last year. And Garrett is a monster. I'm going with Garrett.
Yeah, I'm going to go Garrett as well. Watt has tied the record, so it's worthwhile pointing to him, but Garrett's just so consistently dominant. I have no reason to think he wouldn't get, minimum like 13, 14. Let's see. What I need to know, with Jamal Adams and now Quandre Diggs in Tennessee, do you think the team practices will get a little chippy?
Here's the thing, right? So I listened to Jamal Adams speak on this and pretty much say, oh, those are my guys over there. I got love for them. I enjoyed my time over there in Seattle. And at the podium, it's all good. But dang well Jamal is a chirper. He's a competitor. And he's going to say something to somebody. So I would bet on at least there being like some posturing. You know? Maybe not a fight, who knows, but posturing for sure.
There was a question about, has Bump broken 80 yet, which I refuse to ask because it's just going to make him.
Have I?
There we go. That's
just shot a 78 last week.
Wow.
Brother. Let's get it.
Let's see. After the trade deadline, do you feel more confident with the Mariners' offense or still have no confidence?
Does a bear live in the woods and flee from hunters?
What?
Yeah, I do, man. Come on. You see what they've been doing. I feel a lot better. I just can't wait for Julio, man. I will say, and we talked about it on the show and we texted about it, that
following the trade for Randy Arozarena and then just wrapping up the trade deadline as a whole, it was because of that series against the White Sox, granted, but it was the most fun I've had watching that team in a minute. Like, you kind of felt like you were in the basement where it was like, ugh, same thing over and over. I'm so tired of saying the same thing in emails. I'm so tired of watching the same offense struggling. And then they take off against the White Sox. They just took a series from Philly. I feel cool. Like, they've still got a lot of steps to take, but I like looking forward to games. Like, I'm looking forward to this series against Detroit, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
Yeah. What's worse, a week of hard outs or ATVing in Idaho? ATVing. I would rather do hard outs every single show for a month than go on a single ATV. You guys don't understand. You don't understand what I went through.
You were stressing Derek out. I already know.
I was covering my eyes. And I just want to say there was a 5-year-old girl that went with us who fell asleep, but we had just had very different experiences in these ATVs. I was terrified. I truly thought, what if I die? Like, that's the closest I've come to thinking, what if I die in a long time.
I had a similar experience in Oregon.
Thank you, Noah.
Yeah. There was a group before us. We were on the Oregon Dunes doing this, and they fell like 100 feet and landed like on the front of their ATV and had to go to the hospital like while we were out ATVing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still had a lot of fun, but not as much fun after the owner told us that happened.
Yeah, I was terrified, and I choose to believe that I came close to death.
I choose to believe.
That's my truth. What I need to know, do you think the Mariners will win the AL West?
It's going to be tight, but I think they can do it. They're going to do it.
Yeah, we kind of have no choice but to be like, well, yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if they were 10 games back now, but not having a ton of... Oh, go ahead, Mom.
There's nothing they're doing now to make us believe that they don't have an opportunity to.
That's a great way to say it.
So because I have an opportunity to, I'm going with the good vibes.
What I need to know, did the Huskies make the right decision moving to the Big Ten?
No, they didn't. Nor did Oregon, nor did UCLA or USC. And it's all going to work out for them when it comes to revenue and TV and all that stuff, but it's going to hurt the athletes and travel. And it just ruined a tradition. For themselves, they probably made the right decision in the short term. Long term, probably not.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you see the situation. If you saw it as a sinking ship that could have been patched up and saved, then they made the wrong decision. If you saw it, which presumably they did, as being like, there is no saving this conference no matter what we do, then they jumped to the best conference that you possibly could have outside of the SEC. Yeah. But no, I mean, I'm not particularly excited about this season as a Huskies fan. I'm grateful to have this school with a conference, but you've got to face a conference as Michigan and Ohio State. You've got tough competition. It's also the geography and travel of it is super weird for Washington and Oregon, much less the California schools. I've hated conference realignment. Like, in theory, fine, but there is something lost, a lot lost with not having the Pac-12, and it doesn't feel like any of these schools saved themselves and went to and are in a better place than they were before. That's a better way to say it. It doesn't feel like anyone is in an objectively better place than they were before. Let's see. What I need to know. Are there enough roster spots open for when Julio and JP return, or will other players need to be sent down to Tacoma or AAA? If so, who goes?
I don't know. There's got to be corresponding moves for sure.
Yeah.
Who goes? I don't know. Look at someone who doesn't play every day.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
Stacy would scratch her foot on a seashell and say she was a shark attack survivor. Okay. I would like to say I did cut myself on a sand dollar one time and was very worried that I would get a very serious infection on my leg. I'm just a careful person. Bump, what's the closest you've ever come to thinking? I'm lucky I made it out of that.
Oh, man. Going to parties in LA. For real. I remember there was an incident Firearm was drawn. Everyone runs. I hop over the fence to run. The guy who drew the firearm was running in my direction.
Oh, my
I
God.
was scared for my life, but he went the other way.
I like our very different experiences with being like, I, too, almost faced death.
I promise not to make fun of me if I tell you mine?
Yes, please do it.
Matt, please.
I was kayaking. I had a few too many White Claws. It was very windy.
Oh.
I tipped over, and for half a second I was like, oh, this is how I die. This is how I die.
Oh,
drunk,
man.
falling off a kayak like an idiot. And then I surfaced like 2 seconds later.
That's probably closer to my experience. That's a good one. I appreciate you sharing that with us. All right, you are listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. We are turning to an all-Mariners show from 1 to 2. It is the Dugout. Mariners assistant GM Andy McKay joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Mariners all-star Logan Gilbert.
Mentally, it's probably one of the toughest times of the year where physically that stuff happens all the time. You feel good, you don't feel good. But I think right now mentally, it's like this is the point when you got to see it as a challenge, not a threat, that type of thing. We always talk about growth mindset here. I think that's a big part of what we do and how you can turn the tables or the season just slips away. So I think mentally, it's probably the time to really strap up and figure it out.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
This is Stacy Rost. Is that leaky faucet driving you crazy? Don't wait until it becomes a flood. Call Ben's Plumbing, Heating, and Air. At Ben's Plumbing, they pride themselves on 5-star service, where your satisfaction is their priority. Whether it's a stubborn clog or a complete plumbing overhaul, their team of dedicated professionals is here to help with no commission sales tactics, just honest, reliable service you can count on. Call today at 206-789-5353 or visit Ben's.plumbing. That's Ben's.plumbing.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings. Up to $18,500 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit LexusofBellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS. Lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by September 3rd, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
J.P. Crawford, a bases clearing 3-run double.
A Mariners game at T-Mobile Park is the perfect place for date night. It's kind of like Seattle's best show, restaurant, and dance club all in one. It's actually even better because you don't have to wear uncomfortable shoes and you don't have to act all fancy. You can yell and scream all you want. And if you play your cards right, there'll be fireworks. No, like actual fireworks, not metaphorical ones. Although with an atmosphere like this, I think your odds are pretty good.
Home run,
baseball. Trident's up.
Don't miss this week's action at T-Mobile Park. The Mariners have 3 straight value games against the Tigers tonight through Thursday, with tickets starting at just $10. Then the Mets come to town for a 3-game set, including a fireworks show this Friday, presented by T-Mobile, and a Trident's Up t-shirt giveaway this Saturday thanks to Sato. Get your tickets today at Mariners.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners are back in action after an off day yesterday. They'll open another home series, this time against Detroit. Get ready for a pitching showdown between these two teams. Luis Castillo, George Kirby, and Brian Wu are slated to start for the Mariners. Meanwhile, Seattle will get a look at Tarek Skubal, the top Cy Young candidate in the American League this year. He's scheduled to start tomorrow against Kirby.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is The Dugout, every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy. Inside access to the clubhouse from Shannon Drayer on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
It is The Dugout, all Mariners from 1 to 2. We got a couple Mariners insiders joining us, including broadcaster Aaron Goldsmith and Mariners insider Shannon Drayer, beginning at 1:15. Before we do, we're talking with Mariners assistant general manager Andy McKay. Andy, how's it going?
Great, Stacy. How are you?
Fantastic. Bump and I have spent a couple days here recapping what we felt like was a really solid trade deadline. How do you feel about where the big league club is right now?
I think we're all thrilled about it, and the deadline is always it's a challenge. It's kind of a day-to-day thing where you're managing a lot of fluctuating pieces, but we had clear goals as to what we wanted to do, and we feel like we accomplished them. And those players have come in and contributed immediately on the field. But I think more importantly, what everybody is sensing and seeing is just, a bit of a rejuvenated team and clubhouse. And that's been fantastic to watch.
Andy, what's your sleep like the last 2 weeks getting into the trade deadline? Because I would imagine you guys are always watching what's going on, who's available, talking to people. I mean, did you get any rest during this time?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that question. I'm in the Dominican Republic, and I have been I have not recovered from the original jet lag, and I'm spending a lot of time staring at my ceiling at night and then getting up early. It's a day schedule here for the Dominican Summer League, so I am sleep deprived, to say the least. But part of the deal this time of year.
How's that going, by the way? How's your visit to the Dominican going?
It's been great. It's always, my favorite place to be. And you come down here, and in this particular trip, we have our 2025 draft class or signing class. There's on a draft on campus for basically we have them here for a few days where we're able to introduce them to our programs and to our people. And then, they don't come back until they officially sign in January. But every trip down here is so rejuvenating, and you're meeting young baseball players at the very beginning of their journey, and what's ahead of them, and what they have to get through to get here. But it's just that youthfulness and that energy. It's infectious, and so I got to sit with our group of new players yesterday, and it was great. I was able to show him a video on my phone of Julio's first day as a Mariner, and sitting at the same table in the same room, and they got a thrill out of that. And obviously, Julio's become a hero to a lot of players, and so it was exciting, and it's always fun to be here.
I would assume or imagine that it's always nice getting in front of the possible stars of your organization. And it seems like one of those possible stars is Colt Emerson, only 19 years old. He's been promoted to high A. Tell me about this young man and what you've seen out of him so far.
Absolutely. And, if you're a Mariner fan, it's worth the drive up to Everett. We have a lot of really good players there, but Colt obviously being our first-round pick last year, and, he's outperformed our very high expectations for him as our first pick last year. And this is a left-handed hitting shortstop right now who really understands how to put an at-bat together. It's a professional at-bat. He really controls the strike zone well, hits the baseball hard, very high baseball IQ, plays hard, has leadership skills in him. And, we could not be more excited about, one, that we were able to get him where we got him in the draft last year, and two, what he's done since then. And I forget the exact number, but I think when he left Modesto, it was a 35-game on-base streak. And that's really hard to do. And the only way you do that is if you know the strike zone and you're able to take some walks here and there. And just an exceptional baseball player and a wonderful person that we think can really be a big part of what we're doing for years to come.
You guys have a farm system that, after being stellar and then graduating some guys, you've managed to rebuild into another especially celebrated group. Are there any prospects in particular, or even one that comes to mind, where after a trade deadline in which you guys acquired one of the best bats, you thought, thank goodness we didn't have to deal this guy?
That's always hard because we did have to deal some really good players that – we had drafted, we were invested in, our coaches had relationships with, and those are really hard conversations to have when you tell somebody, hey, we're trading you now, and you're going away.
Right.
It's awful. But as you said, we were able to maintain, our I would say most like the top 10, top 11, top 12, depending upon how you view it, and really all of them. None of them I would have felt uneasy about any of them leaving. So we feel really good about what we were able to add and what we were able to keep.
Andy, Stacy and I think a lot of people play a guessing game during this time or before the trade deadline of how aggressive are these Mariners going to be. I know you can't tell me anything, but do you think you guys were more aggressive than the public really can even fathom or imagine?
Yeah, I would think so, and I think that there's probably a level of aggressiveness year-round. And obviously the trade deadline brings a lot of attention, but I can tell you where Jerry and Justin are. That's really the core function of their job, is to improve our team at every moment possible. And so you may look at it like, here's the trade deadline, but what about the waiver claim and acquiring Victor Robles? It won't go into the conversation around the trade deadline. He's been as valuable as any player we've had. And, without him, my guess is we're in trouble right now if we had not acquired him and what he's brought to our organization. So it's going on nonstop. And like I said, the trade deadline gets a lot of attention, but Jerry and Justin are very focused on improving the team really year-round, 365 days a year, and they don't get a lot of rest at that.
So speaking of nonstop, a listener points out a very fair point, which is the draft and trade deadline for baseball is so close compared to other leagues where you've got months and months usually separating the two, or at least some time. You guys have to be keyed in on names that could be available and also adding to your club in the draft. What becomes kind of wearing with that, and what might be an advantage of having those two things so close together?
I'm not sure anybody knows the advantage right now, but
fair.
It's a high stress time, and the draft we've done great with our scouting group, and just looking at the the rotation we've built out of the draft, and the Julio's an international signing, Cal, and when you go into that draft, you're looking at every opportunity to improve your team, and it's not just a first or second round pick. It's every pick has an opportunity to truly impact you at some point. And so the amount of it's like a 14-day grind building your draft board leading up to draft day, and it is tiresome. And then you've got games going on, and you're paying attention to that thing, and you've got maybe somebody gets hurt, or there's a claim to make, or you're sending somebody to Tacoma, and that's going on. And then you're also prepping for what you know is coming as soon as the draft ends. So it really is a high intense time, and then you kind of get out of it, and now you're playing for first place like every night right now, which I think Houston's got a really good team, and I would expect that we're going to be in this position for a while now of every night's going to really matter. So high stress, but that's what professional sports is, and that's what most of us enjoy most about it.
Hey, Andy, random question, but this one's close to my heart, so just shoot me straight, man, okay?
Hopefully I can answer it well then for you. I don't want to disappoint you.
How often do you guys take flyers on a guy who's a really good athlete but can't hit a breaking ball, only fastballs?
We try not to. And, it all depends. It all depends. And, where you're at in the draft and how much money it's going to take you to acquire the player, and what level was he at, and what position he plays. So all those things go into it. But, if you're talking about a college player that has shown you, hey, this person really struggles to make contact on breaking balls, you really have to think that one through and think, what are we going to do differently than the coaches at LSU or the coaches at UCLA or Oregon State have been trying to do with this player? Right. And my guess is he knows he struggles with breaking balls. The coaches have known it. They've been working on it. And you have to have that humility at times to understand the limits of your development program. But like everything, there's exceptions, and context matters and everything.
Hey, last one for me. How do you balance, obviously, identity, knowing who you are and who you want to be, whether it's an organizational philosophy or a team or character or whatever, is always really important to team building. At the same time, the league changes so much. How hard is it to balance as a front office, hey, this is who we're taking, whether it's a draft or trade, to be who we are, but also we know sometimes we need to adapt? Like, I feel like that's one of the most fascinating things about team building to me.
It really is, and it's a fantastic question. We could spend hours trying to discuss that one, but the answer is you have to do both, and what you're trying to create are organizational guiding principles. We call them focus points, and you establish them, in the Dominican Republic where I am, and in Seattle where you are, and everywhere in between, but you build them so that they are somewhat of an anchor to what you believe and who you want to be, but there's flexibility built into them that allow individuals to come in and be who they are within the kind of the guide rails of your focus points. And that takes a lot of work, because having something with substance and meaning and flexibility means you've got to really think these things through, because you don't want to paint yourself in a corner, and you don't want to exclude a player that could really help you. And I think that's probably the key job of organizational leadership, is to maintain those standards, build the flexibility into them, and find that fine line and balance those two things out constantly. And if you go too far one way or the other, you're going to pay a price. So like anything, I would say it comes down to balance. But, you get those things on paper, and then you work really hard to bring them to life. And that's what we're trying to do.
Great stuff with Mariners assistant GM Andy McKay. Andy, thanks so much.
Thanks, Andy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, let's check in on this team with Mariners insider Shannon Drayer next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
You know him, you love him. John Morosi is here.
I thought, though, the Mariners were one of the teams that won the deadline. We had spent, the three of us, a lot of time talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the possibility of Mariners getting him. Obviously, he ended up staying in Toronto. I think Seattle did a really good job of incrementally upgrading this team. Did they make a blockbuster? It probably depends on how Rosarena plays over the balance of the season, but they got a little bit better in a number of ways, in a fashion that I think will really allow them to grow.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tokogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
The big one is underway now for all you contractors, builders, and heavy equipment operators. A 3-day huge auction event presented by Murphy Auction Company and featuring literally tons of heavy equipment, heavy trucks, cars, vans, SUVs, and a massive assortment of contractor tools like a 2019 John Deere 650K LGP dozer, a 2018 John Deere 210G LC excavator, a 2015 Leeboy paver, 21 diesel-powered excavators from John Deere, Bobcat, Hitachi, and Cat. And that's just for openers. We got 13 backhoes up for grabs, 5 telescopic forklifts, 4 rollers, 12 telescopic boom lifts, and 6 skid steer loaders. Oh, one more thing. Over 100 heavy trucks to choose from. You can set your eyes on all this gear at our public preview, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., now through Wednesday the 7th, at our Marysville location, corner of 136th and State Street. For photos and all details, check murphyauction.com.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Joining us now on The Dugout is Mariners insider Shannon Drayer. Shannon, how's it going? Oh, Shannon, do we have you there?
Are you there?
Yep, we got you. Can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to start with a feature that you just wrote for SeattleSports.com where you talked about Mitch Haniger heating up, and this is hugely important because Mitch Haniger, acquired via trade in the deal that sent Robbie Ray to the Giants, has not had a stellar first half. What have you seen from Mitch of late?
Well, we've seen improvement in his numbers, particularly over the last 2 weeks, and those are the surface numbers. There's been improvement, and that's one of the reasons why he has been in the lineup as much as he has, and some of the numbers that you have to dig a little bit deeper on. He was running some really wild splits this year in that he has historically been very good against left, and he has been terrible by the numbers that we see against left and by production-wise this year. And so, you know, they were kind of keeping an eye on different things with him. And not too long ago, a few weeks ago, he decided that, you know what, everything I did in spring training to get ready to come in and what I wanted to do at the plate, it's not working for me. It worked during spring training. It worked as the season started and as the season got into it. it just was not working. And sometimes it takes a while for guys to want to change a change that they have made in the off season. Those are pretty big commitments. And he did. And he made the change. He stood up a little bit straighter at the plate, leg kick not quite as much as it was before, as it's always going to be pretty big with him. And all of a sudden, he's getting his foot down on time. The timing is better, and he is coming through. And it's both against lefties and against righties, particularly of late, seeing it against the lefties. His 2 last home runs that he hit, I believe both were against left-handed pitching. And so, you all of a sudden start seeing a whole bunch of different improvement, not just on what he is producing, but the numbers underneath, which have kind of been supporting some kind of bad luck on some of that, or sometimes, and now kind of shifting in his favor as well. So good to see that from him. He credited, the work that he did with the trainers, work that he did with the hitting coaches, and then when they got Justin Turner, he said that was just so huge for him because Turner's swing is one that he has studied for a long time. And, in just a short while, it was enough time for him to see, have some talks with Turner and what do you think about this? What happened when you did this? What does this look like to you? And kind of get that reassurance more than anything that he was on the right path. But it was really interesting that in the walk-off interview, when I asked what specifically has helped, that's one of the things that he pointed to. So you cross your fingers, you're seeing improvement, and it follows along some of the numbers, again, that you can't see as much, that you have to dig for a little bit, and it also follows change. And anytime numbers follow a significant change, I tend to feel a little bit better about them. You don't know, you've got to get more sample size and whatnot, but he has been good for them over the last 2 to 3 weeks. In fact, he's been one of their top 3 WRC plus players in that time.
Shannon, I love that Haniger kind of troubleshooted what was going on and got some information from a guy like Turner, who obviously has had success with this team. What's his leadership role? Can a guy like Turner just join the squad and automatically be seen as a leader, or does he kind of ease into it? What have you observed?
No, he can. With the credentials that he has, that kind of player can if they want to, and he wants to. That's who he is. That's what he's done at every step of the way. And, a leader isn't necessarily somebody that's going to come in and tell everybody what to do, but he is a guy that, and somebody defined this so well to me years and years ago. It was a GM that the Mariners, I can't remember which exactly it was. I think it might have been Bill Bavasi, but he said that his definition of a leader was a guy that can take care of all of his stuff and have something left for somebody else as well, and then be willing to give that. And that is where you kind of get into trouble when leaders struggle. Then they don't have enough time for everything that they're dealing with, and it makes it that much tougher. But when you have a guy that is, in a good spot, and Turner was very hot when he came over, has the credentials that he is respected throughout the game. There was a buzz in that clubhouse when they heard that he was coming over to the Mariners, and is very willing. That's who he is. And for him, it's a matter of getting to know everybody very quickly, not waiting for guys to come to him. He's going to go to them, not necessarily tell them, hey, I see you're doing this. That's not what he's doing, but he's making them comfortable with talking to him and having the further conversations. So, yeah, I think we saw that with Carlos Santana, too, a few years ago, and that they come in and they're comfortable in that role, that they've done it everywhere they've been, and they take that first step and they make themselves a part of it. They don't sit back and see what it's all about. They jump right in. So I think Turner does absolutely fill that role.
Hey, tell us a bit about the pitching matchups we're going to see in this series against Detroit.
Interesting. You're going to see tonight, I think this is one that's important that the Mariners get, in that you've got Castillo on the hill, and then you've got a guy in Kiter on the other side, or Montero, full name there, who, is young and has struggled and has had a little problem with the long ball. So you hope that you are able to get a few runs off of him and then get into a bullpen that isn't very good with the Detroit Tigers, especially after the trade deadline when they traded away some players. And Castillo, who's coming off, I know he gave up a few runs in Boston, but the ballpark does play into that. Get him at home, get him going. He's in a good place right now. So, you like that, but you want to get that one, because the one tomorrow is going to be the marquee matchup in baseball, when you've got George Kirby and Tariq Skubal facing off against each other, two of the best pitchers in baseball. And, this might be the roundtable question today on the pregame show. Maybe I'll try it out on you. Who's the Mariners' best starter right now? Who's the Mariners' best starter for the season? Who do you start in Game 1? Who do you start in Game 7? I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. I got a tough one for you. Maybe not. What's going on with the bullpen? Why have we seen
I have to go there.
Tell me, learn me, Shannon. What's going on? What are you seeing with that bullpen?
All right, back to the best pitcher real quick, though. George Kirby has the top starter war in baseball right now. And I know we love what Logan Gilbert, and I love what Logan Gilbert is doing, too. And it's so funny when you're talking about, well, maybe this guy isn't getting enough notice. And if Brian Wu was qualified, he'd be right up there, too. So, if some of Brian Wu's numbers, you hear all about Paul Skeens and what he's done. Obviously not the fastball, although it's a different fastball and a very good one, and not the strikeouts, but he's right up there, with Paul Skeens, who gets all of the notice. Of course, Skeens has done it in a short amount of time. Very different kind of electricity about him. But when Brian Wu has been out there, his numbers have been among the best in baseball for starting pitching. So we'll take that conversation to the roundtable later today and try and tackle the bullpen right now. And, they've never recovered from not having that three-headed monster at the end. That's the only thing that I can say. I think there's been, obviously you've been a little bit shorthanded. If that is your plan, that you are going to have the three guys, you've had a lot of guys that have had ups and downs. And some of those ups have been very, very good. We're learning about Colin Snyder. He's been so consistent and so good while being thrown into a leverage role. That is huge for them. You are hoping on Jimmy Garcia. He had a little hiccup, but that was kind of a strange situation for him to be put in a couple of days ago. But, their biggest kind of fall-offs and some of the longer struggles that we have seen have been in some of the guys that have been in the bullpen before. And they need to get them right, because, you don't know what the situation is. We're hoping that it's good, and it sounds like the preliminary word is good right now in Santos, but you haven't been able to put him out there on a regular basis so far. So, you don't know about that. What if you lose one of your better arms right now? Everybody for this bullpen to work needs to be clicking. And when they're not clicking, then you see kind of some of the streaks that we have seen. And what I would say right now is, now that the offense is building up a little bit, it would be a good time for them to kind of pad some leads and give this bullpen a little leeway. They've been leaned on very heavily the last few years, and let them try and figure some things out. But when you get to September, when you get to October, you're going to need more consistent performers and more consistent performances out of them.
Make sure to tune into the Mariners pregame show to hear more of that conversation from Shannon, and read Shannon's work at seattlesports.com. Thanks so much, Shannon.
Shannon, I'm
guys.
Shannon, I'm gonna text you about that bullpen though, okay?
Oh, I've heard plenty about it. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Shannon. You are listening to the Dugout. Mariners broadcaster Aaron Goldsmith joining us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Joining us on set is Leslie Frazier, Seahawks assistant head coach. Dave and I have been talking about just how valuable you can be to a new head coach.
You try to put yourself in a position where you can give suggestions and advice and just help guys along the way, based on my previous experience. And fortunately for me, we have the type of staff where guys will listen and we can talk through things, and that makes it, very enjoyable for me.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
If you're looking for fun, breathtaking views and outdoor dining, Snoqualmie Casino's the place for you. It's Mike Salk here for Snoqualmie Casino. No matter if it's a meeting like I've done, a night out with friends, a big date night with my wife, I know Snoqualmie Casino has it all. Plus, they open their outdoor dining, so come enjoy dinner overlooking the beautiful Snoqualmie Valley. 12 Moons and Vista Prime Steaks and Seafood offer outdoor dining, so grab a seat and dig in. You can browse the menus at snocasino.com. It is Seattle's closest. Snoqualmie Casino. Please game responsibly.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com. PassNow.com.
Motorcycle riders, Bob Stelton here. I love this time of year. The weather's nice. I'm out on the bike as often as possible. And knock on wood, I've never been in an accident. But maybe you have. And if you have, you need to call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. First of all, your case evaluation is completely free. They don't get paid until you get paid. And they should be the first call you make after a motorcycle accident. And I'll tell you why. Because they fight for you, the motorcycle rider, and your family to get you the compensation you deserve. With over 20 years of experience, they're going to handle your case with the respect and dignity you deserve. The insurance company wants to get away with paying out the lowest settlement they can as quickly as they can. With the Law Tigers, you don't have to handle your motorcycle case alone. So why should you hire Law Tigers after an accident? They can help you get your motorcycle and gear repaired or replaced. Law Tigers knows how important your motorcycle is to you, so after you've been in an accident, give them a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. They will get you the help that you need. Again, that's 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or lawtigers.com. The Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers, Mateer Law Firm, LLC.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904p $20 gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Joining us right now on the Dugout, it's Mariners broadcaster Aaron Goldsmith. Aaron, how's it going?
Hey, guys. It's great to talk to you. How are you guys doing?
We're happy to have you on. Happy to talk about a team. It's funny, Bump and I were reacting to Jeff Passen's cuts about the trade deadline earlier in the show, and both Bump and I agreed that this team in general, I don't know what kind of measurable improvement or step forward they took, but we're both having a bit more fun and a bit more excited watching them. What about you?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think this, to me, kind of just shows how mental everything is. I mean, before Randy Arozarena even appeared in a Mariners uniform, I think everybody in Mariners land, from talk show hosts to fans to the guys in the dugout, kind of felt a little wind at their back for the first time in a long time, right? And then Turner, and then you add to the bullpen as well. To me, it just really illustrates how, yes, there are tangible things that needed to change, specifically offensively for the Mariners, but just having that kind of sense of relief, like, hey, something's happening here, and they're bringing people in. And for Turner in particular, just a supreme mentor that this game can offer. I don't know if there's anybody quite like him in that regard, who's just been through everything. It just, what a different vibe, what a different feel it is, and they've been playing really well, obviously.
Goldie, the walk-off walk was I think it was important, obviously, for the win, but I think it was important for Mitch as well, right? To have that pro at bat and not chase anything, and to help win a game for his team. I think it's vital. What have you seen in his change, in his approach, and everything about him?
Yeah, some pretty awesome takes from Mitch in that at-bat. And if you rewind the tape to April, May, June, that probably doesn't end that way for Mitch Haniger, the way that he was swinging it. And it's been really tough, I think, for everybody to see Mitch Haniger struggle the way that he had for the majority of this season. He's obviously such a fan favorite. He has been here long enough where you just have really great memories of just some uber productive seasons for Mitch Haniger, was part of the playoff team, of course, and has kind of been here since the beginning of kind of a change of the guard for the Mariners. And for him to look as overmatched as he did for much of the season was tough to watch, because there's nobody, I don't think, who works harder than Mitch Haniger, who puts more thought into his craft than Mitch Haniger. And it was difficult. So to see it actually pay off for him now, and I've heard some of the cuts that you guys have played and others on your station today, to see the tide start to turn for Mitch is so great. It's just been such a wonky season for him. His struggles against lefties, of course, that's the reason why he was reacquired, was to be able to hit left-handed pitching, and that has not gone well for him until recently. So hopefully he can continue this and carry it to roughly this level for a while now, because the Mariners could really use it. And it's just great to see Mitch Haniger having success. It's what everybody wants to see.
What are you most curious to see, speaking of, in this upcoming series against Detroit?
What am I most interested to see? Well, I mean, I think I don't expect the Mariners to score 7 runs every game, which is basically the path that they were on until Sunday's game. They will have another really tough matchup, in particular in Game 2 against Tarek Skubal, Seattle U product, by the way. So, seeing Wheeler and Skubal, what would that be? That would be twice in a 3-game stretch. Nobody would be racing to the bat rack when those guys are up on the mound, so that won't be easy. But I would like to just continue to see the overall offensive production that we've been treated to for roughly 2-week stretch now, thereabouts. And that is the Mariners being able to not only create traffic, but cash it in. Like, we've seen the Mariners create traffic earlier this season in spurts, but not cash it in. And it is amazing. It's amazing the difference that just 1 to 2 timely hits in a ball game makes. I mean, it's the difference in the game most of the time. So that would be my hope. From a pitching standpoint, obviously things remain status quo and you're fine. It can take you deep into October, but to continue to see the pro at-bats that we've been seeing and the timely hits would be really great in this series and moving forward.
Aaron, I've had 2 major injuries in my career, and the toughest part, one, you got to rehab and be diligent with, just your routine. But being around the team and still being engaged, I think it's easy for guys to kind of just go into a dark place. It doesn't seem like Julio is doing that. Would you say my observations are accurate with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Even when Julio was going bad earlier this year, he might have felt like he was in a dark place, but it didn't really feel like it from the outside. And then for him to go through this, obviously disappointing. But I think Julio and JP, for that matter, both understand the importance of their presence when they're with the team, and of course they are here on the homestand. And it's important, I would think, for any player, but especially kind of keystone players like those two, to stay involved, to stay engaged. And this is kind of a random example from past years, but we just saw James Paxton on the road trip, and Scott Service praised when Paxton was with the ball club for that second go around and unfortunately injured his elbow in his first start. His presence around the team was still really important and really helped in the development of some young pitchers in particular. Obviously, that's an extreme situation compared to JP and Julio right now, but still having them around in addition to the work that they get in is so critical from an energy standpoint, from a tutelage standpoint for some guys as well. You do have some really young players who've been called up in their absence. And it's the Mariners are becoming more veteran since the deadline, right? That we are seeing more of that as a part of the clubhouse, which is great to see. But obviously, when those guys get back, it's really exciting to think what could happen to the lineup once you add those 2 guys back into the fold.
When you look around the rest of the AL West, we also listened to a couple cuts about how the Mariners are still favored to win this one from a few folks. It felt for a minute like Houston might run away with it, or at least put up some kind of lead. But they, since taking it from Seattle has since taken it back. They kind of bounced back and forth. They haven't managed to build on that lead. It seems like they cooled just a little bit after going on a hot streak. Tell us a bit about what you're seeing from the rest of the AL West right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting as the Mariners get set to host the Tigers tonight. There's a really fascinating series taking place in Arlington. It started last night, and the Rangers did the Mariners a favor with a walk-off home run to beat the Astros last night. And, I mean, you think about that series from a Rangers perspective, right? It's one of the few opportunities that they have left in the season to go head-to-head with the Astros, a team that, of course, they are chasing in addition to the Mariners. And so, right now the Mariners and the Rangers are kind of hoping for the same thing, and that is some Rangers wins against the Astros. But Rangers, I don't think you can't totally count them out yet. They've had some hot streaks in the last month or so as well. But for me and the rest of baseball, I'm not unique in believing in this, but when will Kyle Tucker come back for Houston? I mean, he had a really bad lower leg injury earlier in the season. He has been gone forever. And the last that I checked in on the Astros regarding this in particular, he still was not even close to comfortable enough for going out on a rehab assignment. So he is one of the most dynamic players and certainly one of the best bats in the league. And the longer he is out, I hate to say it, but the better it is for the Mariners. It's bad for baseball. It's good for the Mariners. So that's certainly something from an Astros perspective that I'm will be curious to see how it develops over the next month or two.
How surprised are you, if at all, of the way Robles has been playing the last few weeks?
It's been amazing. I was thinking the other day when he had those back-to-back catches in center field that were just incredible. The first one in particular was just almost unbelievable, truly. I don't know the last player, if ever, another player that I've seen in person that is as galvanizing, as energizing, as much of an entertainer as Victor Robles has become. I'm really racking my mind, guys, to think of a comparison to this level. I mean, every player, no, I shouldn't say every player, many players can make exciting plays exciting, right? Julio's got some showmanship out there. Felix had showmanship on the mound. There's no doubt he played to the crowd so well. But Victor Robles has a way to make the mundane entertaining. He blew a bubble during an at-bat, took a pitch, and then that was called a strike that he then pointed out to the pitcher and nodded as if to say, yeah, that was good. That was good. Good pitch. He makes us the utter mundane, almost must-see TV right now. And it's funny, we all get to know broadcast crews from around the league over the years, and I've gotten to know some guys with the Nationals really well. And Dave Jagler, one of their voices on radio, is a friend, and I reached out to him the other day, and without trying to rub it in for how great Robles has been for the Mariners, I kind of spelled out the situation of how incredible he has been, how entertaining he has been, what he has meant to the clubhouse, to the dugout. Even when do you guys remember when he got hit on the knee? And as he was basically limping to first base, and there was a hush over the whole crowd, including the Mariners dugout, and he was roughly halfway to first base, he started gesturing inside the Mariners dugout as if to say, let's go, right? Yeah. And the whole ballpark erupted. I'd never seen anything like that before. And I asked Dave, I said, was he like this in D.C.? Because obviously he had his struggles there, and it's tough to be like this when you're not playing great. And he said if you go back to 2019, obviously a World Series year for the Nationals, that there were certainly elements to his game that were like this. But then it started to fade as he was losing playing time and was lacking the performance that we certainly have seen. It's just what a rebirth for Victor Robles. And I can't think of just a better time for an organization to give a player a second chance, and for him to, he's more than taken advantage of it. I mean, I don't even know what you would call this. It's something that I haven't quite seen before. It just the need that he has filled, and it has meant, I think it's fair to say, it has meant as much to the Mariners as it has meant to Victor Robles. So it's been a true joy to watch.
Has there been another player when, like I was thinking of when Jared Kelenic was called up and there was Paul Sewald and we were like, okay, whatever. And then he ends up being, of course, the most impactful addition that season. There's always those names that kind of float under the radar. Like, the trade with the Padres a while ago, it was, oh my God, Taylor Trammell. He's this high-ranked prospect. And then there's this guy, Ty France. And then Ty ends up being hugely impactful for a moment there. Is there another player where maybe at the time you don't think he was met with a lot of fanfare and he ended up just really impacting the club?
So many years ago, we created a fake award for the Mariners. I'm sad to say that it has not gained a lot of traction.
Oh, no.
But we called it the Wade LeBlanc Award because we gave it to, at the time it was for a pitcher. We gave it to the pitcher who came out of absolutely nowhere to have a remarkable impact on the outcome of the season for the Mariners. And it started with Wade LeBlanc. I think Wade actually might have been a two-time recipient of it if memory tracks, but he at least was the inaugural and, of course, the namesake of said award. To me, I don't know if it's how people felt about this compared to Robles. This guy probably was going better than Robles was going, but the most recent obvious comp from a position player standpoint was Carlos Santana. I think there were people who probably thought Santana was, on the very back nine of his career and that it probably was running out for him when he came to the Mariners. But as I think we've talked about, in my mind, there's no coincidence the Mariners made the playoffs when Carlos Santana was on the roster for the Mariners that season. And I think obviously Santana, what he brought to the Mariners is different than what Robles is bringing to the Mariners. But nevertheless, I think when those moves were made, you probably did not expect the overall impact that those two guys have brought. And for Robles, not only was he not playing at first, but his first time he got on the field in a Mariners uniform, he committed an error on a fly ball to left field. Right? We've come a long way since that for Victor Robles, and he just clearly feels so comfortable, feels so at home. I've said it many times on the air, I'm hard-pressed to think of a guy who I've seen play looser, freer, with more confidence than Victor Robles, like with no care of the consequence, like no care of the outcome. Just going out there and playing at recess. It's been really cool to see.
We'll see if he wins the Wade LeBlanc Award this season. He is Mariners broadcaster Aaron Goldsmith, kind enough to join us. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Taking a look around MLB next.
With new leadership, the Seahawks are ready to get to work. Seattle Sports will be at Seahawks headquarters, taking you onto the field with the team. Interviews, analysis, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage as Gino and the Hawks get ready for the 2024 season.
Pick up! Witherspoon comes near side. He is in! Witherspoon with the interception for a touchdown!
Training camp coverage is presented by The Landing in Renton on your home for the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Getting inspired watching our men's and women's basketball teams in Paris? Well, come on down to Pier 62 at Waterfront Park and live out your hoop dreams by the Salish Sea. Friends of Waterfront Park has 2 open basketball courts to practice and play like our star athletes. Don't have a basketball? No worries. We have a ball for you. Monday, August 5th through Wednesday the 7th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. More info at waterfrontparkseattle.org. Brought to you by Friends of Waterfront Park.
How do you deal with the negative reviews? Sometimes they just eat me up.
We love our marketing director, and she excels as a leader and loves being part of our Lee Johnson team, except when she's reading a negative review.
I don't get a lot of time with Justin. Last year, I rode with him just a half an hour. I never get that time with him. And I said, how do you not let it eat you up? I said, sometimes I feel so responsible. I have nothing to do with it. I wasn't there, but I feel so responsible. And his answer was, I just look at it as an opportunity. We need that feedback to learn and to do better. I'm grateful for the feedback. I won't ever forget that conversation, and I have to remind myself of it.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This year, Dell Technologies Back to School event is delivering impressive tech with an inspiring purpose. Learn how Dell is helping Computer Aid, whose work is helping solar community hubs with tech and AI literacy skills to empower remote, displaced, or disconnected communities around the world. Help Dell make a difference and shop AI-ready PCs powered by Snapdragon X Series processors at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
All right, what started out as a very scary, heartbreaking story for one family in baseball turned into a heartwarming one, thankfully, with a happy ending. Freddie Freeman, star for the Los Angeles Dodgers, returned to baseball yesterday afternoon after missing nearly 2 weeks, an 8-game stretch, where his 3-year-old son, Max, battled a rare neurological disorder. When he returned to a standing ovation. And in addition, not only did Dodgers Nation rally around him, but the Phillies reached out, who they played during this stretch, the Brewers, who they played during this stretch. I believe Bryce Harper texted him multiple times to make sure that his son was okay, and thankfully his son is recovering. So very scary moment there for the Freeman family that ended with lots of support from the baseball world. It makes you realize just when a game just becomes a game and people start reaching out and supporting each other.
Yeah, his son diagnosed with a very rare disease, bacteria that eats up his nerves and all that stuff. Man, I had to dive in and just try to understand what he's going through, because I have kids of my own. I could not imagine them going through anything like that. So very classy of MLB, Phillies, everyone to reach out, because I saw people on X saying, F the Dodgers, but if you have anything bad to say about Freeman, then I don't trust you.
Seriously, it's kind of like you can hate a team, but also in that moment you're like, but I stand with Freddie Freeman in this case. So,
for sure.
All right, well, let's see. Moving on to the rest of baseball, just wanted to start with some good news to come out of that very scary story last week. According to Houston Astros manager Joe Espada, veteran right-hander Lance McCullers Jr. likely will miss the rest of the season. So more bad news for the Astros rotation there. He's recovering from injuries that forced him to shut down from throwing a month ago during his rehab. So the Astros remain flawed, only able to pick up Yusei Kikuchi at the deadline, not getting back one of their starters.
So now this is the opposite. Like, I don't wish injury on anybody, but the Astros, you know. But no, that helps us. And again, I hope he recovers and all that. But at this point, You got to take advantage. And to see another one of their guys go down, it just puts more pressure on the Astros.
Yeah.
Never going to sleep on them. They have bats who could get in shootouts, but I like the way the Mariners are playing.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, look, earlier we were talking about the rest of the AL West and who's likely to win. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Bump, because while at the time it felt like, oh, the Astros are inevitable, here they come. They just came in here and like whooped our butts, and that really sucks. You look at what they've done since, and it's like, oh, they're not the Astros we've seen before. I mean, they're still good. Watch out. Don't underestimate them. But this isn't a division in which the Mariners suddenly fell 10 games back, right? It's still very winnable.
Yeah, they're vulnerable. Take advantage.
Yep. The Chicago White Sox lost to the Oakland A's last night, extending their losing streak to an AL record 21 games. Record tying 21 games. So if they lose again, it'll be the worst AL record we've ever seen in terms of a losing streak. But Matt has since found us these stats, Bump. White Sox currently on pace to have a 38-124 record, which would be the worst in modern MLB history. Before this season, I know, the White Sox franchise record losing streak was 13 games set in 1924, meaning the White Sox 2 longest losing streaks in franchise history are now both this season. So,
oh my
congrats to the White Sox, and I should say apologies to their fans, really.
Everybody getting fired. They're going to call up Monroe High School baseball team to go be the White Sox, man. It's getting out of hand. And those are pros, man. So the only thing that saves me from feeling completely horrible for them is that they're still getting paid, right?
Yeah.
But as a competitor, I've never experienced anything like that. I don't wish that on anybody.
No.
It's unfortunate.
Their last win was July 10th. I don't remember what I was doing on July 10th. Like, we hadn't started training camp yet. Like, there were vacations that I hadn't taken.
I was 22 July 10th.
You were... Shut up, Noah. God. Rub it in. Noah was 22 on July 10th.
It's more about the White Sox than.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Well, speaking of the Oakland A's, the departing Oakland Athletics have reached a tentative agreement to sell their half of the Coliseum to a private development group called the African American Sports and Entertainment Group for $125 million, which paves the way for the group to build a giant entertainment and sports complex in a long-neglected part of the Bay Area.
Please get that done.
Yeah.
Because that area needs something to pump some life into it. I spent a lot of time in the Bay for work, and you go by that stadium, you go by Oracle that used to be there. There's just not a lot there. So what do you do to revitalize a community, a neighborhood? You build things like that. It employs people. I like this.
All right, well, you have the Mariners opening up a series against the Detroit Tigers. Luis Castillo getting the start in Game 1 later this evening. For Michael Bumpus, I'm Stacy Ross. Don't go anywhere. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
You know him, you love him. John Morosi is here.
I thought, though, the Mariners were one of the teams that won the deadline. We had spent, the three of us, a lot of time talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the possibility of the Mariners getting him. Obviously, he ended up staying in Toronto. I think Seattle did a really good job of incrementally upgrading this team. Did they make a blockbuster? It probably depends on how Rosarena plays over the balance of the season, but they got a little bit better in a number of ways, in a fashion that I think will really allow them to grow.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Jake was suffering from osteoarthritis when his doctors asked him to consider surgery.
However, there's a 9-month recovery period where essentially you're not walking and you're not putting much in the way of weight on.
That wasn't going to work for him, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the ads, and that caused me to do due diligence.
And how are you doing now?
There's not really any pain now at all. I have no limitations in what I want to do.
Wow, so you're able to do anything you want to do?
I recently played golf at Cycle House down in Pebble Beach, walked 18 holes, which I hadn't been able to do for a number of years, and then went for about a 2-mile walk with my friend.
I take it you'd recommend stem cell therapy to others then?
Absolutely. Had I known then what I know now, I would have done this several years ago and saved myself a lot of pain and suffering and agony and